Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching second and final part of What If Naruto Travel Back in Time with Juubi Kurama. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no time, let's start the story.
Unknown forest, a clearing that appeared deserted, was where Naruto and Hinata first appeared. Naruto sighed as he glanced around. Looks like most of them are asleep. Unsure of what to say, Hinata began, Naruto-kun. He saw her bewildered. Oh. I told you bits and pieces of what happened in the future, but mostly what happened between us and one of the most painful memories I have. But here. Well, this is where we'll be training, said Naruto. Naruto looked at a bush and sighed, saying, I said this is a place where I'm well liked, and there's a reason for that. Get out here, little kid. Out of the bush hopped a young fox. Naruto. Sama. Why are you here? Hinata almost squealed when she saw the fox. The fox glanced at Hinata and then back at Naruto, who mouthed the words, future mate, and nodded. Hina. Please don't suffocate her. Kitsuki. After saying, Hinata Hyuga, she picked up the fox and gave it a hug. So see you, Te. 2 minutes or so later, Naruto posed a query. Kitsuki, where are the others? Most are sleeping, aside from the elders. Elder Kitodo is wide awake. I'm supposed to be asleep myself, but I felt someone enter this clearing. I was curious, and I wouldn't be able to fall asleep like that, so I check it out. Found you too, looking for more void jutsu? Actually, I brought her here so we could both learn what we need. I'm good with developing some void jutsu on my own, as that's the best way for me to learn it. I'd still need help with the kitsune illusions. Acknowledged Naruto. I'm thinking she can use it as well. You'd want her to learn kitsune illusions? But she's... Naruto said, that shouldn't be a problem. Or is it because of that, you won't teach her? Need I remind you that, regardless of being a Jinchuriki, I am human myself? No sir. The elders won't like it, though. They're well aware of my choice as a mate, and they have agreed with my reasoning. If I'm going to be here for some time, mainly training and playing with the kids, then she'll need to learn her way around, as well. Naruto stated to him. The fox gave a nod. The elders are in the council chambers at the moment. I overheard them talking to Rigaldo about something, said Kitsuki. After Naruto nodded, they both left the clearing and came upon a cave. Naruto noticed Hinata's nervousness as they entered. No reason to be nervous. They are well aware that my future self was thinking of mating you, and since I technically am my future self, my decision still stands. She appeared to calm down until they reached the 3 foxes. 2 each had 6 tails, and 1 had 8. Elder Kitodo, you said you wanted to meet Hinata, did you not? The 8-tailed kitsune gazed at Hinata and said, Naruto. I see you did. Despite her slight fear, she remained near him, not very brave as she. New place, a bunch of kitsune, and you know of the attack that Kurama was forced into over a decade ago. It's only natural, Naruto replied. Yes, but I also sense she is nervous. Her own family had destroyed herself. Confidence. Only recently had she been getting it back. Long way to go to undo years of damage. You should know that. Yes, I can. And no, there is nothing wrong with her. You also seem protective over her. Naruto questioned, and why wouldn't I be? She was somewhat taken aback. She's one of the only ones that never treated me harshly. She was shaking. In this life, or the last one. She and I were close last time around, and I told you that. Yes, you did. And by the way, bringing her here now instead of later was a good idea. We shall help you in her training, if you ask, Kitodo replied. She felt much more relaxed, though still a little anxious, after he nodded. She pressed her ear against his. Naruto sighed and turned to face her, saying, thank you for this. I owe you more than I can repay. The 6-tailed kitsune eyed him and said, I would have done this anyway. You could use any help you can get, and these guys are arguably the best. I'm pretty sure we'd have to work on a body of water for your Juukin modifications, though, and there is only one here. It happens to be where everyone drinks from, so we can't really do so here. Water main? Kitodo inquired, and Hinata nodded. And she's a Hyuga. What the hell? The 6 tails asked, is something wrong, Elder Kitodo? Wrong. You want to know what's wrong? They think we can't help with a Juukin based on the water element, Kitodo chuckled. In contrast, Naruto was perplexed. I'm sorry, but am I missing something? Nearly 3 decades ago, someone found one of our kits in the human realm and nursed it back to health. She was a Hyuga, and a water main to boot. Her secondary was wind, to add on to it. We helped her with her Juukin, and recorded it, in case someone else came about with it. I can honestly say, I have partial credit at Hitomi Hyuga's Juken form, from the time she was merely 8 years old. Hinata let out a gasp. You trained my mother, she asked in a startled, shocked voice, with a faint, WTF expression on her face. After asking, wait a minute, you're Hitomi's daughter, Kitoto took a close sniff. She was too startled to flinch. Damn, she is. Well, this makes it simple. We can easily get her to where she needs to be there. And now, knowing that, I believe she followed her mother's footsteps and would rather avoid a fight than hurt someone. Especially if they're close to them. Hinata gave a nod of agreement. I'm the same way. Kitoto said, tell me, how is she? Hinata's eyes darkened. Naruto made an effort to console her. Kitoto, that's a touchy subject for her. It always has been since her sister was born. My only guess, as I was never told the truth, is that she's dead, and probably has been for a while, Naruto said. It's still a sore spot for her, so I highly suggest you don't bring it up. When he said this, a single sound barrier surrounded their heads. When Kitoto saw this, he nodded. They dropped the barrier. Tell me if you want to, but not if you don't. Just know that Hitomi and I were close way back when, but I haven't heard from her in a while. I'll help you any way I can. Hinata nodded as she gave him a tearful look. Thank you. Kitoto gave Naruto one of his patented fox grins and said, don't worry so much. Now I understand why it's called a fox grin. It's nearly identical to one, Naruto thought. Thank you, Kitoto. There is no need for thanks, Naruto. Although, you should know that Rigaldo has your Suba ready, Kitoto said. With serious eyes and a voice, Naruto questioned, can I trust you to make sure she's safe? I still have to make another order with him so that it gets done before a certain time period, and it would be best if she is completely safe. If there are any doubts, she's coming with me, and I will kill anyone that tries to harm her. Demon Lord, Elder, or anything else. Then she might be better off with you. My only doubt is with the kids who have little to no knowledge of her or her mother. As sure as I am they'll get used to her in time, they won't right off the bat. If nothing else, this is a fact. Naruto gave a nod. She gave him a tight hug and said, thank you for the honesty. Hinata? He gave it back. Before they departed with a void shunshin, Naruto gave Kitoto a wink over her shoulder. In response to Kitoto's question, anyone want some coffee? The other elders shrugged. Marketplace. Both Hinata and Naruto were inside a forge. It was roughly twice as large as a normal one, and Naruto glanced at it at the nearby anvil. Rigaldo? After striking the metal on the anvil, the 7-foot tall man turned to face Naruto. About time you made it. A sheathed blade on a rack was approached by the man, who then gave it to him. Here it is. Your Suba, made out of the wind itself, and able to cut through as if Kurama's tail went through it. Naruto said, thanks. He let out a sigh. You have any other unfinished projects priority level 3 or higher? Nah, only a few extremely low priority. There isn't much demand for high-quality weaponry. Hinata, who for some reason actually appeared eager, caught Naruto's attention. She said, do you mind making something for me? Who is she? Someone I would easily consider a mate, but not marked. Not time for that just yet. Kitoto is fine with it, to be honest. Naruto replied with a wink. Make sure he's happy down there. Not many people would respect him among the human race, said Rigaldo. Anyway, I'll do it. Tell me what you want, and I can make it. Naruto was unaware that Hinata had taken a journal. What's in there? Ideas mainly. None of which I could really use because no one would even think about it, saying they were impossible, or too hard. She reached one page. He whistled softly as she showed it to him. Ah, here it is. Rigaldo said, obviously impressed, that's some high detail shit. Not to mention quality. Kid, if she's this good with ideas, there's no way in hell anyone in Makai but me and a few others could make half the shit she comes up with. Naruto looked at it after raising an eyebrow. Then he whistled. Damn, me getting the Hokage rock face was nothing compared to this. Anyo. You did that in a bright orange jumpsuit. In broad daylight, right as the Anbu started their patrol of the area, and yet I still wasn't caught until after I was done. Naruto concluded for her. And yet this tops that with ease. You did that in a ninja village. This is what I think on that. Either they're slipping in times of peace, or they just plain suck. Rigaldo said, I'm betting on the former. By the way, this would get me some good publicity if I can get this done. I'm a lesser-known smith. My own father rarely recognized me. In any case, once I get done with this, and I will get it done, you mind if I take the designs and implement some of them in other weaponry? This is just too good to pass up. She gave a nod. Sure, why not, Naruto said. Wait, have them say the maid of Kurama's container is the one that came up with it, but do not mention her by name. Rigaldo acknowledged, she may be human, but I don't really care. Hinata, right? She asked, nodding. If you want anything like that made, or even harder, don't hesitate to ask. It's orders like this that I live for, and rarely anyone comes up with shit like this. Hinata proudly remarked, I'd love to see the look on my father's face when he sees some of my ideas. Naruto said, I'm sure it would be gobsmacked. By the way, I'm glad you got that potency seal destroyed, Naruto. It would have only botched your progress. I know. At least this time I knew it was there. Last time, I had to leave the village. Getting rid of that thing was a good idea, said Naruto. Thanks for the help. Wait. I got an order, and the person to order it was reported killed. The order was made by someone going by the name Gonta. Naruto said, well, what was it? Several exploding senbon, 2. Prong kunai, and 3. Point shuriken. About 300 for each one, and they were already finished, said Rigaldo. They're already paid for, so you want them? Naruto said, why not? We could use them for the upcoming events. Hinata nodded in agreement, saying, half to me, half to her. That should do the trick. Rigaldo threw a scroll at him. The entire order was complete and ready to go beforehand. You'd have to separate them yourself. Sorry. Naruto remarked, no worries, we'll handle it, thanks. Hinata gave a nod. Her confidence was growing significantly. Both of them left and proceeded to another stall. Something caught Naruto's attention. He said to the vendor, pardon me, but, where did you get this? Some guy with scars all over his head found his way here. I helped him out for a bit, and he left that with me. He said that it was supposed to be from a forgotten clan among humans, but he didn't remember which one it was. All he did remember was Uzu. Naruto fixed his gaze on the amulet. The Uzumaki swirl was on it. That's the symbol of the Uzumaki clan. The clan of my mother. Uzumaki? This amulet is of the legendary Uzumaki clan? Yeah, is that a problem? Inquired Naruto, uncertain. Problem? This is legendary, and you said you were an Uzumaki? She inquired. Yeah. Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze. Sole survivor of both clans, and a Jinchuriki. Kurama. Well, I think I can give you this. It's only fair to give you something of your own clan. How much? Nothing. Just take it. It is rightfully yours. She stopped. If you're ever in Konohagakure, search out an Ibiki Morino. I helped him when he was a kid. Tell him that old Alicia is still alive and kicking. Naruto nodded while glancing at Hinata. That's actually where we live. We'll let him know if we see him. Thank you. We should be going. I just hope Kidodo didn't go for the coffee, said Naruto. Why not? Inquired Hinata. If he does, just pray you are not around for at least 20 minutes after he finishes. If you are, you'll be driven crazy just by being in the area. Kurama always said that a caffeinated kitsune is not good for one's mental health, Naruto said. Well, he started saying that after we came back. It can't be that bad. Picture Kyuubi attack, and all the damages made were mental, not physical, said Naruto. Then triple it, and you've got 1 caffeine. Hyped kitsune. If he convinced the other elders to drink. Not good. Not good at all. So, avoid you drinking coffee, Naruto acknowledged. Nah, it actually calms me down, to be honest. She nodded and said, I don't it often, though. Villagers. Well, if he is, then wait for them to calm down. In the meantime, Kidodo was bouncing off the walls with his elders, literally. Alongside Hinata and Naruto after strolling through the Makai marketplace, Naruto and Hinata approached a restaurant. Both of them went in. The greeter gave him a startled look. Naruto. Sama? You need a table? For 3, actually. I'm meeting with someone else, though if he's already here, he wouldn't expect the 3rd. Reservations under Demon King of Pranks, said Naruto. Let's see. Yes, I can make the addition for you. Right this way, please. They led Naruto and Hinata to a table that was more remote than the others. Cage. The man said, Kaze, good to see you made it. I'm not a lazy Junin with an insatiable thirst for tardiness and porn. That's Kakashi's cup of tea. Not mine. Naruto replied calmly. Alright, so what did you find out? You're right. Orochimaru is, in fact, the leader of the Sound Village, and they have been planning an attack for months now. They have actually gone on to recruit Sunagakure for the attack. The Yondaime K's cage is also dead. Any activity from Iwagakure? Very little. However, Orochimaru was seen in the area, probably to convince them to attack Konohagakure or something. Hinata began. Why would they? But Naruto interrupted with a hand gesture. Do you know if they agreed yet? Nothing yet, but I wouldn't put it past them. They are not aware of your lineage, of that, I can be certain. They may or may not have an incentive, but the old man is seemingly senile. With age, humans tend to get wiser. Maybe not in common sense, but in knowledge and experience, Naruto said. I am aware. About the other matter you asked me about. Who's in, and who's not? Dragons, wolves, and kitsune are in. Aside from that, no one else has replied, except the aquatic races. They're not coming for it. Naruto gave a nod. A waiter passed by. Can I get you anything? The answer from Cage was, gall salad. Naruto said, Kifu tondolo, please. And for her? Began Hinata. With a sigh, Naruto defended her. She'll have the kontaba, set of 20. Hinata searched for it while glancing at him. She was unable to fit the description. If what I remember of you from the future, I know you'll like the kontaba here. She questioned, future reference. Naruto remarked, kind of. Just wait for it and you'll see. The waiter left after saying, your orders will be out here shortly. Naruto faced Cage once more. Are they truly willingly to work alongside human shinobi? Kitsune were a little apprehensive, but since it's your home, they agreed. They will only follow your orders in the battle. No surprise. Dragons? Same, but a lot less apprehension, and a bit more honor-stricken. Naruto gave a nod. Wolves are just going in because they have family there. The Inuzuka clan, but they aren't completely in the loop yet. Naruto gave him a look. They're friends with the Inuzuka clan? Off the record, of course, but yeah, they are. Have them send a representative to them, and let them know that they've got back, upcoming. As to who's coming, they won't need to know much. Details to give? Naruto considered it. Orochimaru is a definite. We need the village on guard, but not overly so. The next thing is that the village has back. Upcoming. Who they are is not to be mentioned. They will be working under someone else, and not the Hokage. Everything else to be kept hidden. Cage gave a nod. You know, you humans, Jinchuriki or not, are fun to watch. Mainly it's the idiocy, and flat-out ignorance, but still. If I come by more information I'll send a spider to your location. Standard Arachnid Codebook. Naruto said, thank you, and I'll keep an eye out for it. Anything else? Not really, but the Akatsuki are aware of the invasion plans. They're probably going to send some agents to watch over it. It hasn't been decided yet, though. Sighing, Naruto said, good to know. If they do, they're likely to send Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki. Hinata stammered, Itachi? Naruto said, yes, Itachi. You aren't aware of the Akatsuki, are you? Put simply, they're an organization after world peace, but they're doing so the wrong way. They're after the Biju, and since all but one are sealed, then it's obvious that those that get removed will kill the host when they are. I also found out something from the Shinigami. If you die, if the seal has any piece left intact, Kurama will die. The Akatsuki is not aware of this, however. Even if Kurama is sealed elsewhere, if the Biju are not forced together before you die completely, they will no be able to bring out the Juubi. Naruto's gaze expanded. That's news to me. According to Hinata, me as well. I'm just glad they won't succeed, unless he is taken last, and even then it's not likely to work. Cage adopted a contemplative expression and said, good catch, kid. She'll be a good one to have later on. Although, I am wondering why you brought her here. Naruto said, she's a normal human, and she's surrounded by demons. If she's going to be around me, she'll need to get used to it, and this will do wonders for her courage. Hinata gave him a look. Besides, she's getting a date out of it. I figured she'd be happy either way. She nodded as she gave him a look. You're right. I can see that, but I wasn't aware most of them were demons. And now you realize that they are more like us than most humans think, said Naruto. The food was returned by the waiter. Hinata's eyes widened as she was startled to see her plate placed in front of her. She gave him a look. She took one and bit into it, saying, try it. She completed it in a flash. With a joyful nod, Naruto said, I trust it's to your liking? She nodded and slammed right into them, saying, I figured it would be. Good thing I remembered the cinnamon bun ordeal. All Arachnid Cage could do was perspire. Is something wrong with her? Naruto nodded and said, I told you how I eat ramen, right? She's the same way with cinnamon buns. Those are close enough in taste for it, so it's only natural. She tones it down around her family, sure. But here, where her family will not see it, she has free rein to tear into them like I devour ramen. They both heard a plate turn and glanced at the other. See what I mean? Cage was unable to do more than nod. Hinata blushed and burped a little. Excuse me. After giving her a smile, Naruto burped louder. Better out than in, and better the attic than the basement. She chuckled as she glanced at him. Of course, back home, I'd still have to use manners around the stuck-ups, but here, we can forego the formalities. When she said that, Naruto gave her a nod. You catch on quick. With a smile, she said, thank you. Then Naruto faced the arachnid Cage once more. Cage nodded and they started going through their food, saying, let's eat up. I have other matters to attend to. After they were done, Naruto burped a little. Hinata gave him a small hug and said, that felt good. Don't you mean tasted good? She blinked when Naruto said, that too. That made her chuckle. With a small bow, he said, thank you for your time. Don't mention it, and I'll keep a lookout for information, Cage responded. After giving a nod, Naruto and Hinata stood up to go. If you have any kids, mind making me the godfather? Hinata instantly passed out, but Naruto caught her and gave him a fierce look. He was taken aback by the moan because he had no idea where he had caught her. Then he turned to face her and felt her right breast. In order for him to lay her down on a tree branch, they immediately departed through Void Shunshin. Her head was now on his chest after he instantly reversed their previous position. She appears so content at the moment. Most likely having a pleasant dream. I hope she isn't already dreaming of having children, man. Not until after the defeat of Akatsuki. You sure about that? I can't control something like the Rasen Shuriken if I can't control my hormones. The other wind jutsu I've been practicing is even worse. I simply haven't had the opportunity to test it out. What are you? The dragon. Super dragon, specifically. Since the super dragon is at least 5 times more powerful than the wind dragon missile, it will undoubtedly be much more difficult to control. If I have the scale correct, it's comparable to the difference between the Sanbi move and the water dragon missile. Good. You're learning. But why not now? Because of her emotional and mental state, I know for a fact that I shouldn't do that, no matter how much I want to. Although I am improving her emotional state, she still lacks a strong will. Not because I'm scared of having children, but because of her, I'm not going to screw her brains out just yet. I never said you were afraid. I understand, I just want you to understand. So, you're afraid of using her to better yourself? That's up for debate, Naruto acknowledged. I want her to recover so she can defend herself, on the one hand. However, it will appear that I'm taking advantage of her if I'm not careful. How would you feel if the person you would one day nearly give your life for came to your aid only to turn on you by destroying everything you value most? You are aware that's not the impression I want to convey? Why would you betray her? In most cases, I wouldn't. However, her heart is too weak at the moment. Even if she does say she will forgive me for doing something that would be considered betrayal, I wouldn't forgive myself, so I have to be careful where I go because I might regret it. Even though I would like to, I am aware that I will never be able to continue where we left off. Her emotional and mental state has significantly deteriorated since then. Good. You're taking her into account, along with the difference in her mind and emotions. When Naruto closed his eyes and entered his mindscape, he saw Kurama standing right in front of him. Kit, you've improved a shitload from where you were. Naruto answered, I know I have, but that's part of the problem. A female voice they both recognized asked, why is it a problem? Both of them looked at Hinata. Is it because I'm not good enough? Strong enough? Although she appeared to be about to cry, Naruto caught her attention by saying, that's not it, and you know it. The main problem with it is the fact that I'm a little too used to a stronger-willed you. You're too broken emotionally and mentally. That's where I'd have to begin helping you. I'm holding myself back from what I know for a fact I want, because I also know that your mind won't be able to handle it, and you'd probably feel betrayed. That's not something I want. After giving him a quick glance, Hinata rushed over and sobbed into his shoulder. Hinata, you're too good for me, yet I can't help but be drawn to you. She continued to cry as she gazed at him. His eyes were compassionate and slightly afraid. It's not just your state of mind and emotions, it's also me. I don't want to betray you. Anyone that says I will doesn't know what they're saying, because they don't know me. I know what it's like to feel betrayed, as I felt it for the first 14 years of my last life. It's not something I want you to know firsthand or experience. It only means that I didn't do a good enough job in helping you like I want to. She gave him a chest nod. She resembled a deer in headlights as she said, you know, I did say I had gotten you pregnant in the future, but I didn't say it was your request. I'll admit that I truly want that, but I know that you aren't ready for that. It would be too traumatizing, and that's not something that you need in your current state." She gazed at him. She was the object of her gaze. They didn't need to think or say anything as their eyes locked. They leaned in and shared a kiss. Kurama gave the two a sly smile. "I adore the aroma coming from those two. It's really intoxicating. Kit, you want to continue this out there? It would probably feel a lot better for both of you. And I know he feels the same, because he's the one doing it." They both blushed and withdrew. Kurama burst out laughing. "Kit, look at your face. It's priceless." Naruto stumbled. Shut up." Instead, Naruto and Hinata departed right away. "Later, I'll be happy to forgive you for that." Kurama let out a sigh. "You know I was playing around." And for that reason. Konohagakure a few hours later. Shotgun was on Hiyoshi's lap as he waited on the front porch. Sakura approached him. "Haruno. Hinata and Naruto have yet to return, and likely won't until a few days from now." Sakura informed him. She handed him a note, which he read. "I just got the message, and Naruto said there's a lot to go through. He did add a side note to it. One that I think you should read. Heishi Hyuga Hinata won't be able to return home when you want her to for the second night in a row, but at least I can issue a warning this time. It will be several days before Hinata and I return. Since we are now in a different realm, we won't be found in a training ground close to the village. Since he is also a friend of mine, someone there has chosen to teach her Juken in a way that is appropriate for a water main." He was not aware that Hitomi, the person for whom he helped design the look, was now deceased, but he already knows that. He has chosen to train Hinata in it since she is also a water main to see if it would suit her. They probably will, but I'm not taking any chances. He knows full well that the two are related, and he is now relieved that Hinata chose to follow her mother rather than the madness you call clan elders. That had to make Heishi laugh. "You really don't need to know anything more than that." The Demon King of Jokes PS. "When we return, I'll make sure she hasn't lost her virginity. I'll be missing a significant body part when I succeed or fail. This is merely a warning and a simple way for you to determine if it is still present." He arched an eyebrow. He has her in another realm, could easily take advantage of her, and yet he'd come back without a limb if she lost it, he muttered to himself. "Naruto is, by far, the most surprising ninja there ever was, or will be," Sakura said. "Though any children he has is questionable, they won't be coming for a while. A few years at least." Heishi gave her a fierce look. "You do realize what I have here, correct?" "Well, I just came to give you the message. What you may or may not have is of no concern to me. Just know that if she comes back without it, I'm getting first shot. Whatever is left is yours to do with as you see fit." She replied with a wink. She hurried off. "Naruto, she had better maintain her virginity for your sake." 1 week later. Knowing that Hinata would be growing more powerful, Heishi was training Hanabi. Despite his fatigue, Hanabi continued. "Stop. We're done for today, Hanabi." She sat down gently after nodding. "When will Hinata come back?" He turned to face the door, revealing an Anbu. "I have no set time, but if she doesn't come back soon," he said. The Anbu said, "A council meeting has been asked for. It begins in 1 hour. If Hinata Sama is here, then she is to come as well. I am afraid she has not returned from her training trip." Hinata spoke up behind them and said, "Actually, I just did. I'm back, father, and I already know of the promise he made. He's still got everything attached." "Well then, we have a council meeting to go to. Get changed into your kimono." She let out a sigh before yelling. She abruptly found herself in her kimono as her form became hazy. It even flawlessly displayed her figure. "Done. Shall we get going?" Heishi was in awe. "How did you?" "Something I learned while I was gone. My clothes can become anything I want them to. Makes changing attire on the fly a snap. Literally. It doesn't even require chakra to do," explained Hinata. "And before you ask what the fox is for, that, I'm afraid I can't say." Heishi inquired, "You fell in love with him?" She threw a book to him after making it appear in her hands. "Well, that. But that's not the only reason." He glanced at the title and said, "When you get the chance, go through that. It should explain everything." The complete edition of Foxes for Idiotics by Yoko Kurama. Heishi noted that he would later find out who Kurama Yoko was. Council chambers, people in a half circle in a basic council room. Hinata and Heishi had just come in. Something told her not to activate her Byakugan just as she was about to do so. Then she recalled a statement Naruto had made to her. Don't depend on your vision. Have faith in your senses. It is even possible to fool the Byakugan. She listened to the surroundings while closing her eyes. It was beneficial for her to be in a forest where she had to pay attention to everything. She could now focus on a few sounds and even hear a few heartbeats. Heishi had just activated his Byakugan, she saw. The only thing he could find was the Hokage approaching the door. But then Hinata saw something else. This is where Naruto was. He moved a little, but that was all. She could hardly hear his breathing and his heartbeat was slowed. With a sigh, Heishi turned off his Byakugan and saw that Hinata's eyes were closed. What are you doing? Her eyes opened. She muttered, could you see Naruto? He gave a headshake. Looks like he was right. The Byakugan can be fooled. What are you? The Hokage entered the room at that precise moment. Everybody looked at him. All right. Sume-san, why did you call this meeting? She sighed, and all eyes were on her. She looked at the present Hinata, Sasuke, and Sakura and said, I had just got in touch with an old friend. Apparently, something that the kids shouldn't know of. Sarutobi told him, I am sure they're here for a reason. Why else would they have been called? She put her hand over her mouth and said, unfortunately, this news is about a possible war, and they shouldn't. Sakura, Sasuke, and Hinata gave her a look and nodded. Heishi gave Hinata a startled look. Sakura's mother, standing beside her, gave her a startled look. Sarutobi gave Sasuke a startled look. Then he noted that Naruto would most likely be present, but he was unable to detect him. Jiraiya had not returned yet. Hinata said, I am already aware of this. While I was out, I had gotten word of an invasion of Konohagakure. I'm not sure of the timing, unfortunately. A male voice that Sarutobi, Sakura, Sasuke, and Hinata recognized said, all of those here that you think should not, Sume-san, are already in the know of it. Naruto came out, but he was dressed so that no one could identify him. My name is Nun-Kase, and I'm one of the reasons you even know, as it was my network that came across the information a week ago. Danzo gave him a wary glance. How did he manage to evade every guard? What's more, how did he evade my detection? Nun-Kase gave Danzo a look. Do not worry yourself, as I have been here for some time. A little under an hour, to be exact. Who are you? He essentially silenced him by responding, I am who I am. Anything else is irrelevant to the situation at hand. He reasoned, Jinchuriki. 1. Danzo. 0. He caught Sarutobi's attention. Maintaining your anonymity is admirable. In a council room, too. But it won't help you much against Danzo. Sume inquired, what news did you come by, then? The invasion itself is no joke. I also have found something that may interest you, as it would also help in preventing part of it. Kase said. I have found that the Yondaime Kazekage is dead. His body has been retrieved, and is currently in my possession. Sarutobi said, then they would name the Godem soon. Why would this have anything to do with this invasion? Because, on record, the same Kazekage, who looked to be speared through his left lung and heart with a blade you may know as Kusanagi, is still acting as Kazekage. I have confirmed with another source of mine, and the Yondaime Kazekage is, in fact, dead and has passed on. And yes, I do have sources in the afterlife. Kase said. This can only mean that someone had assassinated him and took his place as Kazekage, and probably shifted his or her form to fit. Sanagakure's actions have gotten a little ruthless since. I have also gotten word that Otogakure has partnered up with Iwagakure as well. As to why, I have no idea at the moment. Even Sarutobi, who hadn't heard it from Jiraiya yet, was taken aback. Narrowing his eyes, Sarutobi questioned, and when did you get the information on Iwa? They had accepted yesterday. Normally, word wouldn't travel this fast, but I have several informants around the entire continent and then some. Kase said. Add in the fact each can travel to each realms, as can I. We meet in another realm. Iwa, Suna, and Otto are prepared to attack, but there is more. Kumogakure has also caught word of this invasion, somehow. A civilian exclaimed, great, now we have 3 major elemental nations against us. Kase said, I never said Kumo would act. Kumogakure is thinking of sending a team here to help out. Whether or not they will has yet to be determined. Some of them relaxed as a result, but Shikaku Nara's eyes narrowed. How do you know they won't? Sarutobi was almost taken aback by this statement, because if I know he won't act rashly in a situation such as this. His fighting style may seem rushed, or even rash at times. When it comes to politics, he is nowhere close to it. I see. And how do you know him? Kase answered, because I have talked to him in person. In fact, he and I happen to be close friends. Sarutobi pondered. I understand. since I am positive that Naruto hadn't. None K's isn't Naruto. Hold on, he claimed to have returned in time. Does that not imply that he? This is just complicated, shit. Sarutobi nodded and said, am I to assume you have an idea as to whether or not Kirigakure is going to do anything? Well, they are not going to participate either way. They had just gotten out of a civil war, and still happen to be stabilizing. They are currently guarded against aerial and water-based assaults. Being on an island, that is all they'll need. Clan heads gave a nod. Danzo questioned, why would they need aerial defenses? I was wondering when someone would ask that question. K's responded, the fact of the matter is, most villages don't need aerial defenses, as there are very few that can attack from that height. However, there is something out that can. They have prepared for the worst to come while they are stabilizing. Danzo was fuming inside. Naruto and Hinata were both aware of it. Danzo. 0, Jinchuriki. 2. Any minor nations planning on attacking? Aside from Otogakure, none of them are in the know. Shikaku turned heads and asked, and what do you propose we do about this? Instead. I mean, you may be new here, but this kind of information is good. Your information gathering skills are a little too good, so you obviously know some things about us. K's said, and you'd be correct, Shikaku. However, my knowledge of this is not from my network. Well, most of it. It is from personal experience. Damn it. How much time will you spend playing around here? Sasuke pondered. Unexpectedly, Shikaku said, as I thought. Why don't you drop the henge? K's shot back, I would. If this were truly a henge. This cloak and mask happens to have a purpose. Some of the people in here are idiots, for lack of a better word. They have no idea what a true demon is capable of, and as such, they label a child as a demon. I have also met said child. I have seen the truth with my own eyes. He is no demon, and bears no grudge against the village itself. If he chose to, I would take him and leave this shit stain you call a village. The civilian councilors were indignant and immediately recognized the person he was referring to. Before they could say anything, he silenced them. He is no demon. Just because he has a demon sealed within, does not mean he is the demon itself. Your foolishness and ignorance would have gotten you killed years ago, had he truly been a demon. Nobody could deny that assertion. In any case, he happens to be your best bet at saving this Kami-damned village. Danzo questioned, and why is this? Because you trained him? That would be a laugh. Even when his pranks were more of a way to fool you than you think? K's inquired. Everyone was taken aback by this. If he wanted to, he could have destroyed the entire village by now, and nothing you could do would stop him. Danzo retorted, he is not that powerful, of that, I am certain. Even when I have seen him take on demons 30 times his size. K's replied, I have seen his exploits personally. You tell what you see, and if you can't comprehend it, you don't see anything. Everyone has a blind spot, and anyone can play on it. It is better to have few jutsu, and more ways to apply them than 1000 jutsu and very little practice, much less uses, for them. He knows little more than 10, but the uses he comes up with them, thanks to his pranking experience, allows him to use a mere D-rank jutsu, as if it were an S-rank in raw danger alone. Considering the fact he knows one kinjutsu, created 3 others, and the rest of his jutsu are based off of 1A rank jutsu, what do you think? Shikaku said, don't tell me. Chidori? No, it is not Chidori. It belonged to his father. By all rights, he should know it. In its unfinished form, meaning no element, he is able to match Chidori head-on. He has improved on it several times over. Having had enough, Danzo made the decision to silently order one of his men to launch an assault. The sword that would have severed his head was deflected by an oddly burned orange arm that had strange discoloration in some areas. A tiny pulse of chakra radiated from the palm, creating a vivid red glow. Nice try, Danzo. Your lapdog would have gotten me had he been out of my sensing range and summoned himself to my position. Too bad only your Yondaime could do that. In a matter of seconds, the man's body was falling into millions of pieces and blood was leaking everywhere. Next time, be more careful with beings you have no clue about. If there is a next time. Danzo questioned, are you suggesting that I will pass away soon? K's threw a folder to Sarutobi while holding it up. That good enough for you? Sarutobi read it and discovered a number of Danzo's actions. You should know that's only the tip of the iceberg. Less than a mere 1% of what I've found. A savage smile spread across Sarutobi's face. I don't know how you came across some of this, but I am certain that things will do good here. Do with him as you wish. This startled Danzo, but his expression hardened. You will have no URK. he discovered that his heart had been stabbed by a sword. It was held by Sasuke. In order to extract a Sharingan, Nun Kase stabbed a kunai in Danzu's right eye and severed his arm with a katana, not the Tsuba. Kase asked, "Would you like the honors of torturing his ass?" And Sasuke nodded while grinning savagely. Kase took a step back and let Sasuke torment, play with, and completely degrade him in front of the other council members. "Then be my guest." At last, he paused and let out a sigh. He was immediately decapitated after saying, "I've had my fun. Time to die." He didn't exhibit any symptoms of shock or anything similar. Shikaku realized that he was currently utterly emotionless. "How could you?" began a counselor. Holding up the severed arm, Sasuke unwrapped it to reveal 9 Sharingan. They immediately stopped talking when they heard, "He disgraced my clan." Why else? Observing the response, Inoichi decided to read his thoughts. He was surprised by what he discovered. "You're an experienced killer? Of thousands of lives?" Everyone was taken aback by this. Sasuke said, "Figures that you'd read my mind about that. Since you did, you'd find out a few things." Even the 4th Shinobi War. Sasuke, Sakura, Kase, and Hinata all nodded in agreement. Everyone was taken aback. Then Kase pulled down the hood and removed his mask. Naruto was discovered beneath everything. Sasuke, Sakura and I are in the know, as is the current Raikage, Godem Mizukage, who was recently promoted, and one person in Tsunagakure. If it comes down to it, the one in Suna will side with me. And if anyone reveals this next portion, they will die on the spot. Rank, status, health and nobility mean nothing. You could be on your deathbed, and you'd still die, along with whoever you told. A civilian yelled, "How do we know you're not bluffing?" Naruto looked over at Sume. Sume turned pale at this question and began to stutter, "Tell me. The friend you spoke of, his name was Raiko, was it not?" "How did you know?" Naruto answered, "Who do you think asked him to tell you in the first place?" "I knew of the invasion, and had found out his clan had a long-standing relationship with the Inuzuka clan. I told him, and I figured he'd tell you. The fact that you called this meeting means I was right in my judgment. They are backing us, along with 4 other clans, 2 of which are following me, and 1 of which wish to follow Hinata Hyuga, for she has grown on them during the past week." She let out a sigh as they all turned to face her. "You really wanted to put me on the spotlight like that?" "Not really, but they have to understand that they won't follow Konoha's orders, only that of you and me." "And the 4th? inquired Shuza. "The 4th one. They will not take orders from anyone. Not even me. The reason they're even being allowed to come at all is because Orochimaru is going to be there, and he has already finished his body swap jutsu." Naruto said. "Because of this, their master has given the explicit order to kill Orochimaru, and no one else. Their boss is the Shinigami." Everyone, including Sarutobi, turned pale as a result, which was the intended outcome. Sakura sighed, Hinata sighed, and Sasuke gave him a crazy look. Her expression was simply blank. "I don't get it. Why would the Shinigami want to help out?" According to Sasuke, he's attained an impure form of immortality. "Sakura, you should easily know why the Shinigami would want him dead, and in his own stomach." He glanced at Naruto. "Death Angels?" Naruto said, "And their counterparts, oddly enough. They will not be following Kami, though. They will follow Hinata. The Seraph clan is following Hinata. Kitsune and Dragon clans are following me. The Demon Wolf clan is pairing up with the Inuzuka clan. Death Angel clan is doing their own thing, but when it comes to Orochimaru, leave him to them." They all gave him a startled look. Sarutobi gave him a smile. "How did you manage to convince them?" "The Kitsune and Dragon clans are both fond of me. Kitsune because I house the Kyuubi, not a word on this, because the majority of them don't know your name, and I'd like to keep it that way. And the Dragons because of my strength of will. For some reason, they always liked the Uzumaki clan. Probably because we are so stubborn it kills, but I can't be sure." Naruto sighed. "The Seraph clan?" inquired Shibi Aburame. "That chose me because of what I believe in, and that Naruto is close to me. They care for us both, and wish to help us in our endeavor. They chose to follow me because he has the Kitsune and Dragons to lead. During this time, we will not be acting as Konoha ninja, but as the generals of those we are leading. Sume.san. The Demon Wolf clan are doing the same with you. If you turn on Konohagakure during this, so will they. If I turn, the Seraph clan will. If Naruto turns, the Kitsune and Dragon clans will, and then I will follow, and that means the Seraph clan will follow as well. Choose your next words carefully, or you might regret it," warned Naruto. Inoichi grinned, but no one said anything. "Well, if they're doing this, I'm all for it. Shikaku said, if he's in, so am I. Shuza said, they're in, I'm in. Heishi gave Hinata a little smile and said, my daughter is doing much more than I had anticipated, so the Hyuga clan is in as well. Hinata returned the smile. Shibi Aburame declared, the Aburame clan is in as well, because I'm not going to be outdone by a teenager. Remember, right now, I am no kid. I am the chosen general of the Kitsune and Dragon clans. Naruto repeated. Sasuke said, you don't have to ask about me, you know I'm in. To her mother's surprise, Sakura said, I'm in as well. Sakura, you can't be serious. After responding, she turned to Naruto and said, I'm dead serious. When this happens, all bets are off. I hope you've already found Jiraiya and signed before this all goes down. He turned to Sarutobi and said, found, but not met. He's coming here as we speak. Hokage. Sama, the moment he comes to meet with you, send an Anbu to me. I'll need to sign with the Toads for my full abilities. For all intents and purposes, anything regarding information I bring in is to be from a man named Nunkase, or his accomplice Arachnid Cage. Then a spider landed on his head. The tarantula was simply of average size. Naruto examined it and listened. The spider made several movements before asking, is he sure? Naruto opened a book and said, I see. Well, that makes sense, and it all adds up. He raised it. Hokage. Sama, make sure the clan heads are aware of the faults in their defenses, which I have exploited time and again. He handed it to Sarutobi. The majority of the ones I used are in there, along with everything else I didn't but could have easily. Use that information wisely. Everyone's eyes widened. That kind of information is much too volatile to be let out, and so that's why I am giving it to the Hokage himself. Only he can view every piece I've seen. If you want suggestions on improvements on clan estates, then let me know, and I will do what I can. We can't risk anything right now, and who better than the one person to get past all of your defenses multiple times and not getting caught until after I was done. There was an unusual smirk on Shikaku's face. Then allow me to be the first to ask for your help. Naruto gave a nod. I've memorized each and every flaw in every security system in the village. By the time I'm done, this village will be so secure, not even Kami himself would be able to find the secrets. And I mean that literally. He left by disappearing. Hinata glanced around. She left, shocking everyone by bursting into flames, saying, I'm heading out as well. There's a few things I need to take care of before anything else. Sakura and Sasuke also departed. Sakura sank into the earth, and Sasuke struck with lightning. Then Naruto reappeared in the middle of the room. Almost forgot. The three of us have about 10 secret training fields that not even Anbu are aware of, and Hinata is also allowed to go to them as well, along with an extra 3 that only she and I can get to, much less use. Thought you should know. Before you go, how did she do with her improvements? Heishi inquired. Taijutsu is down, and has a few unique genjutsu, that not even Kurenai Yuhi herself can use, much less break out of. Those are the only genjutsu I can use myself, and we learned from the same person. Anything else is yet to be seen, or measured. Any further questions? No? Okay then. He vanished in an instant. Nobody was able to deny that it was a shadow clone. Shadow clone. Damn. In Konohagakure, of course, things were about to change. Only 2 days had passed since the council meeting, during which Naruto, albeit subtly, revealed his network. Hokage's workspace Sarutobi was staring at Jiraiya as he walked into the room. Jiraiya. Kuma, I want Naruto Uzumaki in here 5 minutes ago. After revealing itself, an Anbu nodded and walked away. Why do you want him in here for the information I found out? At that moment, Naruto and the Anbu entered the area. Naruto said in a low voice, Jiraiya. Why didn't you take care of your godson? Jiraiya instantly froze. How did you? Naruto questioned. Have you heard of Nunkase? Jiraiya begged. How do you know of him? Not even I know who he is. Naruto answered. Simple. I am him. But that's not the issue here. The Toad contract. Let me sign. Jiraiya gave him a look. If this is about me not taking care of you. Naruto said sharply, right now, I don't give a shit about that. I sign, and maybe, just maybe, I'll forgive you for your idiocy. Jiraiya unrolled the contract and called forth a toad. Here, just. Naruto put his hand underneath it and signed it in his blood, saying, I know what to do. He summoned Gamakichi after going over hand signs. Naruto remembered an old friend and gave him a small smile. Who are I? The toad said, snatching his skull. To the toad, Naruto appeared somewhat hurt. You okay? Yeah, Jiraiya is alive? Jiraiya questioned. What are you talking about? I haven't gone out yet. The toad was tapped by Naruto. Gamakichi, there's a little problem that I really need to discuss with the elders and your father. Before noticing the Sandaime, Gamakichi questioned, Naruto, why didn't you just say so? I mean, we could have just summoned you. From. Wait, wasn't this building destroyed? And didn't he die almost 4 years ago? Naruto answered, in order, yes, and the reality is, both are also a no, none of that has happened yet. I'm back to being 12. But you're 16. How can you be? Gamakichi, listen. I was about to kill the one person that I thought of as a brother, after he killed everyone else close to me. Instead of death, 6 people, myself included, were sent back in time. My guess is, me summoning you brought back your memories from my time. However, at this point, most of those events haven't happened yet. And you're aiming to stop it before it begins? Basically, yeah. He turned to Jiraiya, saying, oh, Pops is gonna love this. Then. This begs the question. What are we gonna do with him? After all, he was supposed to take care of you. Naruto acknowledged, I just used that as a guilt trip to sign up this time around. Already got most of my abilities back, and now that I've signed once more, I can use Sage Mode without consequence or suspicion. You actually planned ahead, didn't you? Naruto acknowledged, rare, I know. Then again, it was Sakura's idea, and Sasuke's backing me this time. Did he? No, and he doesn't plan on it. Besides, he's already taken out the one that disgraced his clan. Danzo is already dead. Naruto replied. The name made Jiraiya twitch, oh yeah, Arrow. Sennin. I had already forgiven you for that. You just didn't know, because, in all honesty, I shouldn't have known. Naruto pulled out some crackers and waved them, saying, by the way, Naruto. Naruto tossed it to him and asked, saltine? What? You didn't think I'd forget a good friend's taste buds, did you? Pops is gonna want to go drinking with you again, you do realize that, right? Naruto said, we'd have another one with us, when we do though. The stuff was at least 10 times as strong as Myoboku's sake, if you ask me. Ma and Pa should come as well. Good to know. Still, how are you going to explain Sage Mode? That's why I signed now. It's either Sage Mode or Kurama, and people aren't exactly fond of me at this point, so, unfortunately, I have to go for Sage Mode. The only way to do that in the past without worrying about others questioning it is by signing this time around. A slug suddenly materialized in front of Naruto at this moment. Naruto took it and read it, saying, Naruto.kun, a message for you. You met up with Tsunade. With his gaze fixed on the scroll, Naruto answered, on the way back from the wave mission. He took his own scroll out and said, this is really good to know. I was actually waiting for one of you guys to come by. Got a message for her. Sure thing. I'll make sure she gets it. Oh, and Shizune said hi, and really wants to talk to Kakashi again. She said you would know what she meant. Naruto grinned. Got it. Anyway, make sure she gets my message. It regards someone I think she'd like teaching on the side, but she'd have to come back in order to train her. I know she can handle it, and she actually would have gone that route if I didn't do this now. Anyway. Details are inside. She won't like it. Naruto said, and I'm not going to force her. Not yet, at least, thanks. The slug took the message and walked away. You're welcome. Sarutobi and Jiraiya gave Naruto a startled look. What? I was always known as the most unpredictable shinobi in the elemental countries, after all. Not to mention you either had the extremely lucky shit happen to you, and then something extremely horrible happened, and you went through it in stride, said Gamakichi. Naruto paused to reflect. Did you remember any of that before I summoned you? Come to think of it. No, I didn't. Naruto smiled, then by summoning everyone else. Gamakichi concluded for him, you can have them remember? Sweet. Jiraiya asked, shouldn't you get going? To the toad? Loosen up, Jiraiya. The kid just went through hell, survived, and now is about to go through it all again. He needs the company. Naruto answered, actually, I'm with Arrow. Sennin on this one. Someone has to let the others know what happened. We also need someone to tell Gamabunta what happened before I have to bring him out. You just fit the bill for the location. You're not happy I came out? Actually, I am. Among the toads, you knew me best, after all. Your pops was a close second, followed closely by Pa, and then Ma. Naruto said. Likewise, I knew you, so if I brought you out, I could be more myself. Got it. Could you? Naruto received a nod when he said, ask your pops to teach you the reverse summon for you guys. You really need to be able to do that quickly. Naruto then cancelled the summon. He glanced at the two others. Don't ask. I've got enough troubles already. I don't need any more. Jiraiya let out a sigh. Alright, this kind of information is not easily known. Apparently the whole Nun-K's thing can be dropped, aside from the fact that his network has spread 3 times as far as mine has. Actually, it goes farther if I have my sources correct. Said Naruto. Nun-K's and Arachnid Cage are accomplices in the maintenance of their network. They work together with it, and together, their network reaches beyond Water Country into seemingly unknown territory east, bound, and even further to the west. Then it goes well into several other realms that you just can't get information from without ties. Nun-K's has those ties, and Arachnid Cage is a resident in one of them, but can go into most of them. Jiraiya gave him a look. No network goes that far. Naruto said, you'd be surprised. Especially since some of my informants are actually in those realms, and I can go between them with ease. I could literally disappear off the face of the planet, and no one, bar Jinchuriki who know how to, can get there. Kind of like a safe haven for when I really need to get away from it all. As Sarutobi put it, think you can get me there? If I can ever retire, at least? If I take you at all, it's to stay, or for an alliance of sorts, said Naruto. Although, the council wouldn't like it, and, sorry about this, but you're a little too soft to convince them otherwise. Sarutobi acknowledged, that was because Danzo backed up the civilian council, to a point. Now that he's dead, most of them have lost a lot of power. Naruto said, then I think I can be a go. Between for now. Every week or so, I'd head over there anyway. Along with one Hinata Hyuga. One of the clans there. Actually, 2 of them took a shine to her. The Kitsune like her for her open mind. She's also a lot nicer than most give her credit for, from a clan that is filled with arrogant bastards. That's why the Seraph clan took a liking to her. She's a diamond in a coal mine. I saw it, and they saw it. That's what we all like about her. Good to know, said Sarutobi, and her progress? To be determined in the next Chunin exams. Until then, nothing is going to be a definite, Naruto said. Kitsune clan has been training her in all aspects, even her taijutsu. It helps when they developed a version for her mother, after all. The 2 people there were a little shocked by that. Don't ask how, but she found her way there and got help modifying the Juken from a Kitsune elder. He's been helping Hinata during it all. She's got a ways to go to complete it, but she's coming along faster than her mother, apparently. Sarutobi questioned, is that why she's accepted with the Kitsune? That. And one other thing I don't think I should mention just yet. She's already aware of it, and the subsequent actions regarding it, and we're waiting for that point. She knows what's going to happen when it does, and, though eager, she's not ready for it mentally or emotionally, and she knows it. Jiraiya's gaze expanded. You mean? With a slightly unsettling glare, Naruto said, don't even go there, Jiraiya. He paused and adopted a contemplative expression. And by the way, you're probably right with that perverted mindset, because... Book 7, page 192. 3rd panel from the top right. That's the main action, but chakra is implied with it. The news appeared to shock them both. When did you read them at 15? Damn pervert. Sorry, super pervert, made me read them when I was training under him for almost 3 years. Also had me write something after I finished them all. Naruto acknowledged. Speaking of which, I might as well write them. Arrow. Senin, you've got yourself a challenge in the adult section. He glanced at Sarutobi. Anything else you need? With the hope that he knows nothing, Jiraiya asked, what do you know about Akatsuki? His hopes were swiftly dashed. Nearly everything. Puppet leader, true leader, members, some former members. Plans, what they're after, and their true threat level, replied Naruto. That and more, to be honest. Jiraiya said, well then, who's in there? Naruto placed a bingo book on the table after taking it out. Him. He's debatable at this point. He's probably already out of it. It was Orochimaru. He's in. He then read the book more quickly, finishing it. 3 members aren't in here. One of them, I can understand. Another of which defeated, or at least will defeat, Hanzo of the Salamander, with the help of the 3rd. Konan, Nagato, and a man by the name Tobi. Tobi is a Uchiha, who's playing Madara in the future. Do not underestimate him, though. Jiraiya gave Naruto a startled look. Nagato and Konan can't be in there, they were reported. Killed? Inquired Naruto. AIM is a fickle bunch. They keep themselves cut off from the rest of the world for a reason. Nagato has been going by the name Pain in Akatsuki, and is the puppet leader. Toby is the true leader. I say not to underestimate him for a reason. There are times he acts childish. That's just an act. In all honesty, he's the most dangerous out of all of them. He's the reason the Fourth Great Shinobi World War broke out. Pain was dead, and no one killed him. Actually, all that was left of Akatsuki was Toby, a snake-like version of Orochimaru's right-hand man, Hidan, and Kisame. Kisame went out first. Hidan stayed hidden, actually. Damn Snake went out next, and then, finally, Toby went out. I'm the one that took him out. No one else could, and they were already weakened. Sarutobi said, well, that's good to know. You can handle them, but for how long? Last time, I was basically on my own. This time, I've got several demon clans backing me. It's not a good thing in the eyes of the council, but right now, I don't give a shit. Naruto said. Q and I. We're on good terms now, and, well, he's got a name, which I'm not sharing for a reason. Jiraiya asked, and what would that be? The name. I'm not giving it out. The reason? The saying ignorance is bliss is the reason. The less people that know, the better. At this point, only 7 people, 4 of which are in the village, know his name. Godem Mizukage knows it, Current Raikage knows it, and my contact in Suna knows it. The only human contact in that area. Naruto stated to them. That's all that know of it, though, and I'm really giving names of those you can really force it out of. Sarutobi questioned, Hinata Hyuga is one of them, isn't she? Naruto let out a sigh. I'm not going to answer that one. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to trust that I know what I'm doing, even if I don't trust my own judgment. There's a reason for everything, you know? Jiraiya questioned, why should we if you don't? That is not your concern right now. Just prepare for the next Chunin exams, and if there is an escort mission to Takigakure, I think that Team 7 should handle it. C ranks that are a little suspicious should be handled by us, or Chunin and above, Naruto said. According to Sarutobi, alright. Then you are dismissed. Naruto flinched away. Now what else did you find, Jiraiya? Where do I start? A week later in the mission briefing room was Team 7. The words, alright, Team 7, I have a C rank ready for you, piqued their curiosity. This is an escort mission to Takigakure. They all nodded, but kept their smirks to themselves. The simultaneous response was, we accept. Send him in, said Sarutobi. A man Naruto remembered fully walked into the room. Shibuki. Up until this mission was finished, he was a coward. You going for the idiot routine? No, not this time. At least I remember what Fu looks like. From what I recall, she's from Takigakure. Good. I don't want to see that again. The team was shocked to hear, Naruto, you're staying behind for this mission. I have a different mission for you, and they specifically asked for you. Unless it's from Kumogakure, Kirigakure, or Sanagakure, then I'm sorry, but I'd have to stick with my team, Naruto responded. Then you might as well get packed for Kumo. They requested this mission. A man named Killer B requested it, with your name as the only one that can take it, Sarutobi said. They said an Anbu is allowed to come, but only one. After a moment of observation, Naruto nodded. Fortunately, I had already decided to drop the idiot act. The fact that I was behaving foolishly would not sit well with A if I'm being honest, a bit more than you do. I'll pack immediately. Naruto then departed in a typical Shunshin. Sakura, Kakashi, and Sasuke exchanged glances before shrugging. With Naruto was standing in front of the Hyuga estate after packing. Naruto Uzumaki, we shall get Hinata for you. There is no real need for that. Just let her know I'm going on a mission to Kumo, and that there's a portal at Point Delta 6 set up for her. She'll know what it means, Naruto said. Naruto was at the gates when Hinata ran towards them. Naruto.kun, what are you doing here? I'll be out of the village on a mission that involves Kumogakure. In fact, they specifically requested me, and I already have an idea as to why. Delta 6 is where the portal is at. Hinata gave him a cheek kiss after saying, Delta 6. Got it. Thanks for telling me. What do you think it is? Naruto nodded and said, Kurama would have something to do with it, if I'm right. I should be going. Love Yahina, Chan. Hinata answered, right back at you, Naruto.kun. Naruto then leapt to his feet and disappeared. He had the option to claim that he was taking a shortcut. Finally, Naruto reached the North Gate. B. Rank mission to Kumogakure. The guard nodded but arched an eyebrow. After a while, Naruto disappeared as he ran out the gate. Kumogakure finally, Naruto reached the front gate. Sweet, I actually made it quickly. At that moment, Naruto was startled when the Raikage, dressed in robes, and a number of Anbu entered the area. I didn't think you'd make it this quickly. Naruto answered, you should know by now that I'm not fond of tardiness. So, where be? I will take you to him. He and Yugito are together right now, and waiting for you. I responded. Naruto and A walked side by side into the village. Naruto played off the ANBU's suspicions of him as a potential security threat while they were being followed. At last, they arrived at a restaurant. Apparently, B and Yugito were waiting for someone. B, when did you send the request? B said, 3 days ago, Yugito. And why did you send it? Mr. 9 is with him, if you catch my drift. Yugito gave that a nod. Falls of truth. B gave a nod. Their attention was drawn to a voice that said, good to know that my suspicion was correct. Yugito was immediately alert. B said, yo, dude, how's Kurama? I don't remember you ever not talking in rhymes. Weird things been happening lately, namely dreams. Naruto gave a nod. They got up and left it behind after B said, okay. Let's go. All of them found themselves directly in front of the Falls of Truth. 1 hour later, Naruto awoke from his meditative state. I'm done here. Let's go in. Wait. I asked you to come here now for a reason. B replied. She nodded and made the same motion, saying, Yugito, you're up. This time, it took half an hour, but she emerged triumphant. I'm good. B said, now, we can go in. Behind the waterfall, they entered a cave. Once they were inside, Naruto poked his head in and, just like the last time, found a switch. After pushing it and passing through, it closed. Yugito followed suit and proceeded. B entered with Yugito since he could already walk through. Alright, Naruto. You would now either have to beat up Kurama, or come to an agreement for the tailed beast mode, B said. Do you believe we ought to inform him? Why not? I still don't know why he doesn't remember that we've done this before. Alright, Naruto said, glancing at B. We're already good. We've come to an agreement. It's simply a matter of getting the body used to it. B questioned, you sure about that? I mean, I didn't think you knew about this point. Naruto said, I knew for a while, to be honest. I did say that you remembered our history. You mean those weird-ass dreams I've been having? B replied. I mean, they've got me so confused, rhymes don't flow. Naruto said, good, you weren't really good at it anyway. Yugito said, wait, you've been getting them too? I'm thinking that either all of the Jinchuriki are getting them, aside from Gaara and myself, or it's just some kind of time flux. I never did get the specifics of the space. Time logistics. Naruto looked up. I really got to remember that one. Not very smart, Nah, I just have random bouts of intelligence. Always have. They come and go, and when they are there, I don't always understand what comes out. Let it flow, you know? Naruto eventually responded by blinking. No rhyme intended. Good. I've enjoyed this period without raps. I don't want to hear any other kind of rhyming. Then Naruto gave B a fist. He beat his fist. Good to know you're familiar with this. I would have done so sooner if it weren't for everyone else in the area. Figured that I should probably do this now, before we begin. Use it as a sign of respect, you know? Said Naruto. B said, I can live with that. Naruto then extended his fist to Yugito. Yugito followed suit, saying, bird of a feather flock together. This made them both smile. Yugito noticed his smile when she opened her eyes. She chose a blush even though the sight nearly made her heart melt. What made him smile so readily, kitten? Don't worry so much about that. Ask if he's single. Nibby, Naruto questioned. She getting a little horny? Yugito became more flushed. Alright, I'm done teasing. Sorry, but I'm taken. Really? Who? Naruto's voice hardened as he said, same one your village tried kidnapping when she was 3. I don't like that action, and it made her cousin obsessed with fate. Getting rid of it is still something I need to do. Well, I'm just a genin right now, and since the council wouldn't bother to give me a promotion yet, I'll be entering the next Chunin exams. Yugito replied. I'm not sure how long I'll get there, but if I see you with her, I'll apologize for them if they haven't already. Well, if they haven't given up, and they order you to, then tell them to shove it. Naruto threw him a scroll and said, if they see what's in there, they will like it. B said, they won't like that. They won't be able to examine it or its contents. Even the materials themselves will not permit analysis of anything on it. Attempts to decode its contents will fail. The true formula for it can only be seen by one person of Namikaze descent. He was shocked when he opened it and said, yeah, I can use it. Last time I saw you, I couldn't, Naruto said. I've been working on a related project, and I can utilize them in the same manner. Inform them that they will receive a full serving of the flash without the flash if they attempt anything. After resealing it, B said, good to know. All right, let's see how far you can go. Then Naruto transformed into a tailed beast. You like? All right, B nodded. It's time to practice controlling it. You must be aware of that part, right? After giving a nod, Naruto began working with the nearby stones. Yugito and B began working on her Biju, 10 hours later. B glanced between them and said, Naruto, good job. Yugito was just getting started, but Naruto was happy with his work. You seem to have mastered it. Yeah, to be honest, that looks good. All I have to do now is practice my jutsu in this form. The Rasengan Jutsu, specifically. Naruto answered, this includes the Amari. Are you already aware of this? That's good, B said. Naruto deadpanned, now you're sounding like something out of a movie. I believe it's time I taught you a few of my own jutsu techniques since we're here practicing them. The last time, I couldn't. What are you thinking of? Start by finishing yours. I'll begin teaching you Yuki manipulation jutsu once we have them sufficiently perfected. To be honest, you could also use some of them through the devil arms. I am unable to say with certainty about all of them. All right, Naruto said, turning to face B. I'm going to practice my own jutsu first, and then some things that Kurama is considering teaching me. I'll keep working with Yugito, he said, nodding. However, you should wait for Yugito to finish before learning from Kurama. We'll all learn them, Naruto said, nodding. 3 hours later. All of them had paused to rest. Yugito sighed, hi, Naruto? How are you, Yugito? Chan. How does life feel in Konoha? Really, all I've ever known is the life of a shinobi and a little bit of animosity. Well, if they are aware of the Biju, they don't really see much beyond what they know, Naruto said, recognizing the underlying question. Although I'm highly respected by the shinobi, I don't think Anbu is particularly fond of me. Why not? She inquired. Well, consider yourself an Anbu. In the middle of the day, an academy student dressed in a bright orange and sky blue jumpsuit played a practical joke. After he finished, you began to chase after him, but he was able to outrun you. What would you think? Naruto inquired. You were an academy student who outperformed Anbu? Yugito asked, his eyes wide. To be honest, that was the only way I could actually train. I developed my stealth through my pranks. My speed and creativity were honed by the chases. Leaving them behind. Well, they're not particularly fond of that. Additionally, the Hyuga clan doesn't like it when I spread their multicolored underwear throughout the village. I mean, that one was hilarious, but nobody ever noticed. But somehow, I never went near Hinata. I'm happy I did now. You got by their eyes? She asked, gaping openly. Yes, in fact, multiple times. Since the last 10 or 11 times I was in for something I did get past them, they had become more vigilant. When you want to do something, you'd be shocked at how poorly they guard. However, they and even security are becoming more vigilant these days. I requested it myself. Yugito acknowledged, I think it's strange that you would assist people who have slandered you. Why? Well, a normal person would never even attempt to comprehend their perspective. In what other way could I disprove them? By killing them all and becoming the one thing they call me? That's not the solution to this, he said after pausing. Bloodshed. Sometimes it's required, but it's rarely the solution. As ninja, you learn to do that. Never corner an animal, they say. This also applies to Jinchuriki. They are less than the Biju they represent, but they are more than human. We stand in for them. We must act on their behalf because they are unable to do so for themselves. We are decent, we maintain our humanity, and we make them proud. That's what Kurama and I have done. What's going on? Yugito and B both grabbed their heads in agony as Naruto confessed, I actually proved myself to all 9 Biju before. After a few minutes, B and Yugito turned to face him and said, I think something's going on with their Biju. I've been having strange dreams because of you, Yugito said quietly, because you helped us all out. Remember when we first met, do you? Startled, Naruto inquired. After Sun, you met with all of us. According to the Yonbi, the Biju ought to give you an opportunity. B said, and your next line in the real world was a little good. Learning a lot of difficult.to. Remember names at once what? Really? Hey, I was dense and a fool. In any case, what happened? Naruto said, give me a break. Everything is being remembered by the Biju here. What if you were discovered by the other Jinchuriki? Yugito inquired. After giving it some thought, Naruto said, I have no idea. I'll let you know if I find another one. Why did you assign it a B rank, by the way? Let it happen alone. All that Konohagakure truly needs is you. Really, anyone else would just obstruct the path, B said. So, who wants lunch? Naruto said, point taken. B merely arched an eyebrow as Yugito held up her hand, saying, you cook? Yeah, sort of travel rations, Naruto said, shaking his head. Hey, I can cook them first, and they help. Naruto just pulled up his sleeve and showed off a strange storage seal, saying, it's a modified storage seal of my own creation. Both of them blinked. What is it used for? With a hint of curiosity, Yugito inquired. Theoretically, I cook some takoyaki and then seal it inside. After a month, I realize I'm hungry and either there isn't anything nearby to eat or I can't really buy anything else. I'm stuck in a cave in wind country, for instance, and there's a sandstorm outside. You have just run out of regular rations and there are no other creatures. What are you doing? Nothing. It's inevitable that the food has gotten cold or dissolved, B said bluntly. Naruto pointed out that this one is designed especially for food, and he clarified, that's with a normal storage seal. When you seal it in, it emerges in the same manner. Yugito said, prove it. Naruto shrugged and produced a steaming pot of spaghetti, saying, I sealed this right after I finished cooking it. Nearly a month ago. I discovered that I had no real guests and wasn't particularly hungry for it. I sealed it, then. Try it. B was the first to try it and said, hey, it's pretty good. After trying some herself after seeing this, Yugito's face lit up and she said, you're right, this is good. They all took some from the pot and ate their portions after Naruto opened a few bowls. Within 10 minutes, the pot was empty, and Yugito burped and flushed first. Then B burped, and he blushed a little. At that point, Naruto burped loudly and twice as long as the others. Hey, don't knock burping, he said. It's a compliment. Indicates that you truly enjoy it and would likely pursue more if you could. Am I correct? With Yugito's face still flushed, they both nodded. You think a woman shouldn't burp at all? She nodded when Naruto asked, and he sighed and looked up. I'm calling bullshit. She almost gave him a glare, mostly because of his laid-back tone. Everyone burps. Everyone lets out a fart. A few are louder than others. Other people don't like it. It is among the numerous things in this world that we are powerless to alter. Natural bodily processes. Although they are natural, some people dislike them. Burps. Usually, I interpret them as compliments. Farts. You simply had to empty an air pocket in your intestines because you overate, or something. You have to learn to live with it. I don't know how you could say all that so easily. B and Yugito nodded despite blinking. Because my words were not well considered. My mind only concurs in hindsight. It's just what comes from the heart. Naruto acknowledged, it's who I am. I don't have much else to say. That's what I do. Why do you waste your time making fun of me in that way? What? Yugito asked. Is that what it looks like? Naruto blinked. Confused, he said, damn. I started working on it. I apologize. Sometimes I come across as flirting or even teasing when I'm just expressing my own viewpoint. Sometimes it makes them faint, and other times it hits me. Others still. That's not always a good thing, but it's also not always a bad thing. Well, it depends on your perspective. Speaking from the heart essentially results in that. At least without considering what you said. Anyway, now that we've eaten, I think we should continue working on our Jinchuriki training, he said, and both of them nodded in agreement. Yugito's almost done with controlling herself like that. I've still got a bit of work to do with the Amari, but that's about it, said Naruto. You're still not happy with it? No, not really. If anything, I think it could be better. At least, form it a little faster. Since I currently have to use 4 hands for it, I need to either shorten it to 2 hands or make it so I can make it with just 1 hand, like I can with the Fuden. Udama Rasengan. There are a lot of ways for me to get better at it. You don't believe you're exerting too much effort? There is no middle ground with me. If I'm not giving it my all, I'm not doing jack shit. You should know me by now. Kurama thought, that's what I'm afraid of, but remained silent. 2 or 3 more hours passed before Yugito completed her regular training, and Naruto had noticed, so he began to meditate to find out what they would be learning first. When they turned to face him, they discovered that he was in a meditative trance. 3 minutes later, he opened his eyes and said, all right, let's settle a few things before we start this. He transformed into his typical golden-tailed beast form and said, this one is mine. These can only be accessed when using what I call the tailed beast mode. It's much more humanoid than Kurama, as you can see. and there's a rationale behind that. B said, that's not the tailed beast form. Naruto then transformed into a giant fox with 9 tails flowing behind him, saying, it's not what you call it, no, B, this is what you'd be talking about. But most of these couldn't be used in this form. He then returned to his normal self, explaining that it couldn't be used in their form because a more humanoid form is required. You can use some of them that way if you only have the cloak. After nodding, they both started working. No, I won't explain why I'm missing the majority of the new training. 4 days later, in the Raikage's office were Yugito, Naruto, and Killer B. We're done, bro, B said. That's good to know. I appreciate you asking me to use Zabuza for this. Anyway, what happened to him? I inquired. In Wave Country, I stayed. His old apprentice accompanied us back to Konohagakure, is currently residing there as a civilian, and has been keeping Sasuke in line. He is their official protector. Naruto shrugged. You recall his attitude toward me, don't you? A nod. Is it not unbelievable that he grinned at her? He would not do that, A said, shaking his head. He wouldn't do that, if I know anything. All right. He does. My former girlfriend has returned, and she is gradually improving her relationship with Kurama's relatives, the Kitsune. Naruto answered. I'll be honest and say that he didn't do much for it, or at least the summoning variant. Bro, I think that we should let the council know something about Konohagakure regarding the Hyuga clan, B said after clearing his mind. What are you discussing? I don't support that at all. You are aware of that. Naruto said, yeah, but they're idiots. For some reason, all councils are. In the event that Kumogakure abducts any Hyuga, particularly the heiress, I gave B a small token. Well, you would know if you saw it. They will only receive that warning. And without Namikaze blood in their veins, they will be unable to decode. It was made that way, and only a person of Namikaze ancestry is able to use it. An eyebrow was raised. What are you discussing? Unsealed a 3-pronged kunai that are recognized immediately, you mean? I have a better version. For me, those things are just remote sensors. This is the only warning I am going to give. I don't need the Hiraishin, because I have what it was based on in my arsenal, Naruto said. They will have me on their ass if they even threaten her or any member of the Hyuga blood. They will forfeit their lives. It's a pledge. Additionally, I keep my word if you know me well enough. Good to know, said A, nodding. And I'll see to it that they are aware. Proceed. We'll handle it from here. Naruto simply faded out of sight after nodding and walking away without another word. His void teleport. Long range. I just hope I'm not his target if he gets pissed off, B said. A said, I hear ya. Konohagakure. When Naruto arrived at the gates, he was met by Sakura, Kakashi, and Sasuke. So, what happened in Waterfall? He got their attention by asking. A few people were altered by rogue attacks, and a Jinchuriki was encountered. Standard. Sakura shrugged. What's your mission? In Kumo, training. I also gave them a deadline if they wanted to try anything. Naruto answered in a cryptic manner. They know not to annoy me because if they do, the flash will return without the yellow. Naruto could sense a hint of happiness in Sasuke's somewhat relaxed statement. Good to know. Tami's glad to be back. Damn. Kakashi said. Team Kakashi returning from a C rank. And Naruto Uzumaki returning from B rank involving Kumogakure. Naruto continued. Oh, Uzumaki. When you returned, the Hokage wanted to see you. Azumo said. He said it was urgent. All right, then. He headed toward the Hokage's office, saying, I'll be on my way. I was actually there, so I'll take care of the mission report, Kakashi said, adding, you two should take tomorrow off. Sakura, too? That was a really nice punch, she said, looking at him. I didn't say this before but, most likely a record. No, that one gave Naruto at least an additional 70 meters of damage. However, she collided with a cliff. Not at all, Sakura said. And that is bound to be good for something. Sasuke continued, you've been turning into a mini Tsunade, if I'm correct. That's what I'm going for, at least. Hokage's workspace. Once inside, Naruto said, I'm done with my B rank, GG. Sarutobi smiled and said, glad to see you made it back safely. His expression then became somewhat dejected. Listen. I apologize for not telling you earlier, but... Naruto informed him, if it's about my parents, then I already know everything. Sarutobi stood up and said, then I guess I should give you your inheritance. He pointed to his father's picture, revealed the seal behind it, opened it, and took out a scroll, saying, I was told that you were to get this when one of two things were to happen. He threw the scroll to Naruto. saying, I wasn't even given the key to your father's estate. 1. You discovered who your parents were, or you could defend yourself against your parents' enemies. I have good reason to think it's there. It's just like he said, it's just directions to the areas. Wait, he only gave 1, Naruto said after releasing the blood seal. This is also where the armory is. The location of his estate and the key to it, didn't he give this some serious thought? I've grown accustomed to it, I believe he does that constantly. However, I wouldn't become overly at ease. Keep in mind that Akatsuki is still free. I understand, but I'll be prepared when they arrive. You better be. Alright? What's inside? Naruto said, not saying. Sadly, this scroll does not contain my inheritance. Not a single storage seal is present on this item. That isn't possible. Confused, Sarutobi remarked, he said your inheritance was in that scroll. After reviewing it once more, Naruto said, I believe I ought to take tomorrow off. Gigi, is that okay? Naruto nodded and leapt out the window, saying, if it's to figure that thing out, then by all means. That's when Kakashi came in. Naruto, just leave? All right, he's the report on our mission, said Sarutobi, nodding. Forests in the southeast. Naruto was in a clearing with nothing of note nearby, but he had already visited the armory, and the entire clearing was concealed by a space time barrier and a genjutsu seal. Naruto searched the area for a seal, which he quickly located and released. He entered a small shack, which he discovered to be nothing more than an old shack used as a hideout, and he picked up the key and note that were nearby. Naruto, I'm grateful if you arrived here first. This is the key to my estate. I left you the map at location 4. The only documentation I have of the Shikifujin, which is probably what keeps the Kyuubi at bay, is in the Forbidden Scroll of Seals. The only documentation I have of the events leading up to its creation is in the armory. Minato, after resetting the seal, Naruto nodded and thought, number 2 is the armory. So, let's head to number 3. He then left the area. Cave on the mountains in the northeast. Naruto had located the cave with relative ease, and upon entering, he discovered a second section containing the Uzumaki symbol and multiple inscriptions. The only person allowed entry is the one with the Uzumaki blood. Naruto wiped his blood on the Uzumaki crest, causing a section of the wall to open. He proceeded through it, discovered a portal nearby, and entered the Makai market. Whistling, he said, another entrance to the marketplace. Nice. While he was here, he sent Rigaldo a shadow clone before returning himself. Hey, brat, he said, recognizing Ibiki Morino on the other end. The door was open, as I could see. You opened it, right? Yes, I did. How about it? Naruto shot back. This location. This is the only time I've been here. I eventually found myself in a marketplace as a result of it. Naruto answered, when I was 4. Makai Market. Oh, and old Alicia said hello now that I'm staring at you. The old bat is still alive, isn't it? Ibiki inquired. Obviously. She is, after all, a demon. She definitely doesn't act that way. Or perhaps that's just what the human mind is saying because it's broken. Naruto shrugged and said, I'm betting on the latter. Anyway, what are you doing here? Ibiki inquired. Naruto answered, getting my inheritance. Kushina's child? Yeah. Gosh. I apologize if I have ever offended you. Don't worry. After all, I'm among the few people who have ever frightened you. Naruto responded, I'll leave it open, so you can see Alicia again, and if you see Rigaldo, tell him I left the portal open for trade, if needed. Anyway, I still have 2 other places to go. That's good to know. Kid, I owe you one. Consider this me apologizing for that little snake in the shampoo prank all those years ago, replied Naruto. You were that person? Who else do you believe it to be? Really, I'm the only one who has ever overcome every major shinobi clan's defenses, Naruto said rhetorically. If I wanted to, I believe I could accomplish that. The Anbu headquarters, too. Another thing I hit was that. I'm shocked I wasn't caught for that one. Well, that fixed one issue, Ibiki said, raising an eyebrow. Don't worry, though. I'm not including that in any context for this. Before turning to glance over his shoulder, Naruto said, thanks, and by the way, if I say that I'm going all out on someone, prepare for mass humiliation, pride damage, emotional damage, and mental damage, all rolled into one. Before Naruto left, Ibiki said, I look forward to it. A deserted estate. Who knew that he lived right next to the Hyuga estate? Joked Naruto, who thought this was both ironic and convenient. Is it important? No one, but it's still a bit of a shocker, if you get what I mean. Naruto approached the front gate, inserted the key into what appeared to be a keyhole, but before he could turn it, He heard a clicking sound. The door opened, and he entered. As Naruto saw the compound, he thought, sweet. It was a large estate, taller in some places but not as large as the Hyuga estate, and he looked around to see that it needed a thorough cleaning. Hey. I guess it's time for a little mass cleanup, he said with a hand sign. Mass shadow clone jutsu. The original paused and said, spit shine. Nearly 150 clones appeared. New house means one thing. Spit shine. Before they hurried off to clean everything, the others echoed, did you have to do that? No, but it was enjoyable. Naruto then proceeded to the estate's highest point to observe the events. See what I mean? Point. It looks kind of funny, but some of this is much more confusing than anything else. Naruto answered, and that's why I did that. After 3 hours of cleaning the entire estate with all 43 houses, Naruto sent a mental command to disperse, but not all at once, and after he finished, he found that everything was fine. He also looked through their memories to locate the clan head's house, which was, ironically, the building he was standing on, so he leapt down and went inside. As he entered what he assumed to be the master bedroom, he noticed a few items that belonged to his parents. Ironically, he discovered a Suba in the room, although it appeared to be used more for decoration than for practical purposes. However, it was sheathed, so he quickly withdrew his initial thoughts, saying, this thing is a lot more practical than it looks. I certainly am. Why do you think I was used during the war by Kushina? Alright, I'll buy. Are you holding the Suba? Oh. Most of the time, people glance around to see who spoke to them. For those who catch me for the first time, anyway. Well, I'm a Jinchuriki, so I'm used to telepathy. Oh. That explains it. Which one? Q. You might hear me call him Kurama. Gosh. It appears that if you have the Kyuubi sealed inside of you, Kushina won't use me again. She's also my mother, and she's been dead for almost 13 years, Naruto continued. I apologize. I was unaware. How could you have known? I mean, suspicion is the best thing you could convey, but you wouldn't know until someone told you. It's true. About some aspects of the war she fought in, I could tell you a lot. What do you think? I have my own Suba, but I don't think dual-wielding them would be so bad. I'd be honored to be wielded by Kushina's son. We then struck a deal. Young sir, thank you. Could you tell me your name? Naruto. Uzumaki. Namikaze Naruto. Kushina and Minato, huh? That's good to know. Well, in order to enable dual wielding, I need to iron out a few kinks in the Kitsune sword style. Well, I'll be anticipating this with great anticipation. Additionally, if you locate Orochimaru, your mother detested him greatly. Why did she do it? Minato is constantly bugged. It was difficult enough for him already. He didn't have to supplement it. Well, for me, it's making my brother and best friend hostile and pushing him to kill me multiple times. I wasn't aware of them having a second kid. They didn't. I'm referring to Sasuke Uchiha, who was my brother. I had to create my own family because I didn't have any growing up. Makoto was the only person Uchiha Kushina liked. She was apparently the clan head's wife. So, she's most likely Sasuke's mother. In any case, I must inform him. Hey, we're all jerks, you know? Isn't that the reality? But I'm hoping this Sasuke is different. Usually, since Haku survived to return, he has shed his conceited demeanor. Really? I didn't realize they could only love themselves? They can. Most just don't want to. It's part of the old Uchiha clan. Sasuke has tasked himself with making it better than before. In private, he's much more relaxed and at peace. He only smiles around Haku, though, because he's already killed the progenitor of his clan's massacre, though he still acts like a bastard at times, usually to keep up with appearances. That's good to know. Then let's get going. Is there a name my mother gave you, or something else I should call you? She called me Kadaj, but I'm not exactly for that name. You were my mother's sword, and I don't know if you have any special abilities or not. Naming you is not going to be easy. Well, my other Suba is called Outsider. I got it because I was like an outsider to my own village. Then just call me Suba for the time being. Naruto nodded and sheathed Suba, saying, sure thing. Suba. That should suffice for the time being, at least. He climbed into the bed, placed Outsider beside Suba, and nearly fell asleep. Uchiha Estate Sasuke had just finished discussing his mission with Haku as they were eating dinner. Do you ever get a normal mission? Sasuke retorted, I come home to you at the end of the day, so I'm not complaining. I've never had such a wonderful life. Why do you return home to me instead of your house? Sasuke blushed at the tips of his ears and said, the house means little to me. You're much more than that. I have to get better because of you. I want to be able to protect you even if you don't need it, something most people don't notice. Haku emphasized the public, saying, we're not exactly public in our relationship. Before his expression became serious, Sasuke said, there's a reason for that. She took note of this and listened carefully. What do you know about a man named Orochimaru? Well, there's a problem with him, she explained, using the typical bingo book description. The Sharingan is his target. Since he is unable to take my brother, he would want me instead. That is what I am awaiting. To kick him in the ass. I would actually announce my acceptance to my graduating class after that. And I would be delighted to do so. And that's just because of him? Now, yes, he sighed. I would do it right now if it weren't for him. That's probably what Naruto would do, too, he blinked. Hell, I'd probably go to the top of the Hokage monument, and use a voice-amplifying jutsu, shouting out that I'm taken to the entire village, if I had to. In relation to that, where is he? I'm shocked that he hasn't returned yet. When I returned to the village, he did too. In fact, I'm shocked that I haven't seen him since. How many times have I said? Sasuke sighed as he got up to answer the knock at the door, which was Naruto. That since I live here, I don't need to knock, Naruto finished for him. Well, that's why I knocked. The boss now has a real home. The old home of his father. Clone. After receiving a nod, Sasuke sighed and said, come in here. You ought to speak with Haku about this. After all, she was concerned about you. The clone came in and told Sasuke and Haku what had happened. So, you now have your whole inheritance? Haku inquired. That's excellent. Sasuke went on, you don't have to live in a dilapidated apartment. In response, Naruto said, the place is a little too big, which isn't really a good thing, you know. I am a single individual. Still, though. Scrolls about the old laws were discovered by me. For us, CRA is far superior to what you truly believe. I'm not pursuing it. You and I are both aware of that. Naruto acknowledged, and neither am I. They would attempt to coerce you into it. According to the law, the CRA is completely up to the ninja and cannot be imposed by the civilian council. If my father's identity is made public, they would attempt to impose the CRA on me. Since they are unsure of his ancestry, they are unable to. He never turned it on, but he does. There are no parallels aside from the fact that he was able to imitate it with his Hiraishin. With wide eyes, Sasuke said, then that means you cannot be compelled to join the CRA until you retire or lose your ninja status, and even then, it will probably be too late. To be honest, boss is happy that you and Haku got together. She is far superior to your fangirls. Among which Sakura is not, at least unofficially. Yeah, she fell for Lee. Green man? Smaller one, but yeah. Naruto remarked, I'm personally happy she chose someone who was supportive of her at the time. To be honest, I believe she would pursue him once more. You were unmarried, so I went for Hinata. Sakura hasn't really met Lee, I'm back with Hinata, and you do have a girlfriend though she's kept a secret for some reason. To get the fangirls off my back, I would probably climb to the top of the Hokage monument, shout it into the air, and amplify my voice 30 times over if I were in your shoes. After blinking, Sasuke turned to face Haku and said, told you that's what he'd do. You know him better than I do, Haku shrugged, not surprisingly. Why haven't you, then? The only thing preventing me from doing so is Snake Bastard, a pedophile. If not, I would do it now. Disregard clan appearances. Sasuke's eyes widened and he developed a smirk. Damn Snake is the only reason I haven't done that. What is going through your mind? Perfect wake-up call for the village as an announcement. You do that when you're about to go public with it right after sunrise, Naruto said, flashing his go.to prankster smile. When that occurs. Anyone who wasn't woken up because of it. The fangirls who were there will wake me up. What a genius. They shouted that out at the same time and gave each other high fives. Devious. I like it, Haku said. But I'll wait for it. It will sound like music to me. As we don't want to be awakened by the old fangirl screech, Naruto said, warn me before you do, though. Sakura agrees. In fact, that way, we can get ready for it. You been working with Kurama lately? Sasuke said, I plan on it. That was all I was really thinking about when I was in Kumo. I have Raikage and Mizukage on my side. Don't inquire as to why she messaged me about offensive items. I made it very clear that I was only doing that kind of thing with Hinata. Since then, she hasn't sent another. He didn't see Haku stiffen, and they both nodded. I still like Haku more, he said, adding, if nothing else, I have to admit she's a looker. Mei and I don't connect as well as we do. Figured you'd say that. Naruto replied. After all, Haku did look on the verge of getting pissed. After blinking, Sasuke turned to face her and said, "Really? I was completely unaware of it." "So, the truth was unaided?" Naruto inquired. "That'd be about right," Sasuke replied. "Nothing short of the Shinigami himself." "The Shinigami, for some reason, is female," Naruto clarified, herself. "Is that an issue?" Haku inquired sweetly. "Not at all," Naruto said. "I'm just curious about the widespread belief that she's a man. Where did people get the idea that all strong gods were men?" Haku and Sasuke shrugged, but blinked. "All right, then. The human mind is to blame." "But how do you know she's a woman?" Haku inquired. "Sasuke, do you know how many times I've nearly died?" "At least 30. She has taken a personal interest in me and informed me that she is, in fact, female," to which Naruto responded. "Try over 1000. It only serves to highlight how Kurama's power was sealed. What does that indicate?" "Point," said Sasuke. "That's awful. Wait, are my attempts included in that?" "No, only until I receive my diploma from the academy. Hell, I could stop counting when I entered the academy, and the actual attempts would still break 1000, Naruto told them, referring to the lengths they went to in order to get rid of me. "Those that Gigi stopped before they could begin are not included in this. If I did, there were, in my opinion, well over 3000. As far as I can tell, I was not even 3 days old for the first one. I also don't want sympathy." "I know. I still think you've had it worse than I did," Haku continued. "So do I. It was just my own father, and that was the only attempt at mine. Anyone who knew was already dead, so nobody else found out. People will know when they learn about my ancestry. However, I would have left the wet work by then. Konohagakure is on your side. The village's protection is the responsibility of every shinobi," Sasuke said. "The Hokage has the biggest role for that situation. The will of fire is present here. When you have nothing left, it is the strength to do what you cannot. Few people in the village have it out of all of them. Possessing the will of fire is a little known prerequisite for becoming Hokage. He didn't have the Hokage, which was Danzu's dream. The Yondaime and Sandaime defeated him. The goal of Orochimaru was to become Hokage. Without it, he was defeated by the Yondaime. The Yondaime, Nadaime, Sandaime, and Shodai all possessed it. It was inherited by Gadaime, who lost it in the process. I assisted her in finding it, but Gadaime isn't there yet." "A reference to the future?" Sasuke inquired. "Anyway, I should go," Naruto said, nodding. Naruto dispelled, and they both nodded. "Boss has been out of it since I was created, so I really need to dispel." "You do realize what we said?" Haku inquired. "A shadow clone was what it was." "That's exactly what it does," Sasuke said. "You think I can pick it up? Your reserves are at the Biju level? Because you're not likely to learn it from him unless you do," Sasuke inquired. "Furthermore, you don't really need the numbers he can obtain given your speed. Hell, that's why he uses them for training." "Oh well," shrugged Haku. "Make out?" In response, Sasuke struck her lips with his own. "No. He's taken," she exclaimed as she ran out of the area to tell someone else whom no one will ever know after seeing them both in disbelief just outside. By morning, everyone will be aware. A week has passed since Team 7 returned from their numerous missions. Additionally, Team 8 was getting much better than normal. In relation to that, Teams 7 and 8 have been getting together on a regular basis lately, primarily due to Naruto and Hinata's increasing daily proximity. In their individual taijutsu stances, Naruto and Hinata were looking down at one another. With a few minor modifications, Hinata was in the Juukin's initial form. The first thing that caught my attention was that her arms were a little too high for her body. It appeared to leave a lot of holes, which was the main difference. The only people who understood the purpose of those holes or that she could simply seal them were Kakashi, Kurenai, Naruto, and Hinata. With Kakashi seated in a tree and Kurenai in between, Kiba, Shino, Sasuke, and Sakura were seated on the sidelines. "Are you sure you want to do this, Hinata?" She gave a nod. "If I don't, then I'm not good enough by my own standards." Naruto questioned, "Did you have to choose me to do this too, then?" "If I could go after Kitsuhara, then no, unfortunately, he's not here, so I can't. You're the only other one that knows what I can truly do. My team isn't exactly aware of my progress, after all." Naruto gave a small nod. Kurenai gave them both a quick glance before raising an eyebrow inwardly in response to Hinata's response. She extended a hand. "Begin," she jumped back instantly, but neither of them made any movement. Rather, they simply gazed at one another. Everyone, including Kakashi, raised an eyebrow except for Sasuke. Instead, Sasuke turned on his Sharingan. He was the first to notice what they were doing. Naturally, Kiba was the first to speak. "Why aren't they going at it yet?" he said, quiet dog breath. "They've already started the fighting, you just can't see it." Sakura gave him a look and arched an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Sasuke said, "Watch their chakra, not their movements." As they connected, Kurenai and Kakashi felt their chakra and saw what he was saying. A slight wind swept across the open space, and they both disappeared. Being able to use the Sharingan made Sasuke happy. His eye was the target of Kakashi's hand. Kurenai began, "Kakashi, what are you?" But Sakura took the hand. "Don't you remember what happened the last time you tried using that in a spar against Naruto and Sasuke?" she inquired. He lowered his hand grudgingly. "Just channel chakra into your visible eye, and use it to sniff out their chakra signals. You won't see the majority of the blows in actuality, just where they connect. That's what I'm doing, after all." Kiba yelled, "How can they move so fast? I'm not sure about Hinata, but I can almost guarantee several years for Naruto." Sasuke said. "Even if I didn't pay attention, he was able to outrun Anbu several times. If that's not an indication, he's fast." Shino calmly inquired, "Since when did you start caring about him?" "Since I found out that he can do more than anyone, even the Hokage, thought he could. Especially when the academy tried stunting his progress from day one. When I saw what he could do with proper training. That's what changed my tune." Sasuke responded. "Don't question my decisions. At this point, I'm at a point where, if you don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you." After a moment of shock, Kiba turned to the fight, which he was still unable to follow. After about 20 seconds, Naruto emerged, performing airborne backflips. Hinata's body was more straight than his as she twisted in midair. Both of them returned to their initial positions after landing in a nearly perfect stance. Naruto said, "You've improved significantly since our last fight." Hinata's serious expression seemed out of place as she replied, "Thank you," particularly from her team's perspective. Sasuke and Sakura laughed at the exchange. Kakashi, who wasn't even reading his book, also burst out laughing. Kurenai almost gave him a glare for reading his book after hearing him laugh. He didn't even have it out at that point, she realized. Kurenai gave him a perplexed look as he said, "Your faces are priceless." Sakura said, "He's right, you know. That's why I chuckled at least." With a slight smirk, Sasuke said, "I chuckled, mainly because they're both holding back. After all, I know that Naruto's really at least 50 times as powerful as this. His shadow clones are the reason for that." "Kakashi, what is he saying?" His response was, "The truth." The two fighters looked at Naruto and said, "Hey, Naruto. What do you say you start with the ninjutsu?" Naruto turned to face her. "You up for it?" Both of them began to go through hand signs, asking, "Why not? Fuden. Great breakthrough. Sweden. Water wall," exclaimed Hinata. "Kaden. Kitsunebi." Naruto's hand shot out a blue flame as it rushed toward Hinata, who was quickly using hand signs. "Sweden. Water dragon missile." Before she could begin swinging her hands around her body, a water dragon struck the fireball, which had visibly shrunk, from the nearby lake. 8 trigrams. Protection of the 64 palms. The fireball struck and bounced off a wall. Naruto gave her a smile. "Looks like you finished it." Hinata answered, "Took me a while, but I did it." He made a series of hand signals before saying, "All right, then. Let's see if you can handle this." Hinata raised both eyebrows instead of just one. Fuden. Great Wind Dragon Jutsu. She was charged by a giant dragon composed of wind chakra. Although she avoided it, nobody noticed that she had done so. Excluding Naruto. He turned to a tree and showed Hinata panting in a branch, saying, "You've definitely improved, Hinata-chan." "Thanks." She gave him a nod and said, "I think that's enough for now." Agreed? He sat against the tree trunk, right next to her, and said, "Then let's rest up." Hinata quickly passed out while sitting in his lap and resting her head against his chest. Kurenai's voice was icy as she said, "Naruto." Sasuke almost gaped when Naruto said to her, "If you're going to be upset because I used something that's strong, be happy it was only at 10% strength. If not, I have doubts she would have been able to dodge." Kakashi grinned. "Naruto, you've been learning wind jutsu quite easily." Naruto shot back, "It is my primary affinity, after all." He nodded and asked, "And yet you said that was 10% strength? Your strength, or the jutsu?" "Jutsu. If I used 10% of my full strength for it, well, let's just say the clearing wouldn't be here after I used it. Naruto let out a sigh. His head then sank forward slightly and landed on Hinata's head, saying, "I'm going to pass out now." Kurenai was somewhat taken aback by the fact that he fainted, and everyone watched the scene. Sakura was at his side in an instant. "Idiot. Don't worry, he's just physically exhausted. Hinata's the same way. Neither of them have chakra exhaustion." "Naruto, I can understand. But Hinata, I don't get it." Sasuke said, "She's been training with Naruto's other sensei. I'm only vaguely aware of who he is, but right now, I don't really care." Kurenai began, "Kakashi, I don't know how you did it but..." He shot back, "I didn't." Kurenai, Kiba, and Shino were taken aback when they heard the statement. It was a man named Nunkaze that did. Because of him, Sasuke's already gotten his vengeance. Neither Sakura nor the two sleepers were impacted. Kurenai said, "Where is he, anyway? I've heard he's literally a spy master, but there's no information on him at all. Not even the Hokage knows much. He probably knows more than he lets on. According to Sakura, that reminds me. Why is it my mom doesn't know who Nunkaze was, when he revealed himself in that council meeting? I know she was there, and so was I." Sasuke's gaze expanded. Everyone turned to him when he said, "I don't believe it. Everyone but myself, Sakura, possibly Hinata, and the Hokage probably won't remember who Nunkaze was. Not including himself, of course." Sakura and Sasuke nodded and asked, "You know who he is?" Kakashi gave a shrug. "Then talk." As Sakura acknowledged, "I doubt I could. All I can say without consequence is that Naruto is somehow connected to him. I guess you could say it is an S-class secret." As Sasuke put it, no surprise there. At least 90% of Naruto's life before he graduated was labeled a class secret or above. Ever since the day he was born. Kiba almost yelled, "How could he have so many secrets?" Sasuke said, "An attempt to give him a normal childhood. No matter how you look at it, his life will never be normal. That's a fact of life with his condition." Shino inquired, "What condition is this? Although, I already have a guess." Sasuke asked, "Can you sum it up in one word?" Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi nodded in agreement. "Jinchuriki." Kurenai was taken aback, but she concealed it. "So, am I to assume that the academy instructors were wrong in a few lessons?" Sakura grinned. "Then I won't intrude." Kiba called out, "Hey, hold on. What lessons are you talking about?" Shino said, "That is one that was deemed S-class, is it not?" And Kakashi nodded. "Then I guess Naruto is the only one that can speak of it. As such, no one else will know that I figured it out on my own. And I also think I know who his father is, though I wonder why he didn't take his father's name." Sakura said, "Safety, and I have a feeling you're right. The reason he isn't shouting it from the Hokage monument is because of the obvious repercussions if he did." Shino stood silently. He then looked at Naruto. "It's not possible, could it?" "Sakura, I would like to talk to you about something later." "Sorry Shino. I believe you figured it out, but I can't really say anything. If anyone can, it's him. You'd have to ask him." Shino gave a nod. Sakura and Sasuke nodded, saying, "Then at least let him know that I don't hate him in the slightest with the knowledge I have." "Kakashi, you've been teaching him along, haven't you?" "Nope, I haven't taught him anything but tree climbing. Everything else, he learned on his own. I must say, he progresses faster than anyone else I know. Myself included. I'm still writing down all of the wind element jutsu I know for his use. I've also been going for earth jutsu for Sakura, and lightning for Sasuke." Kakashi replied, "Naruto's actually been a bit more of a help to Sakura than you'd believe. He's helped get her stamina up, along with providing a few ways for her to kick ass. You'd be surprised at what he comes up with when it comes to live combat." Then a chill went through Kakashi's body. "I feel my guy's senses tingling." He said, "Ah, Kakashi, my eternal rival, come to fan your flames of youth," louder than he should have. "This is so not good." Kakashi idly said, Did you say something, Guy?" Guy tugged at his hair and yelled, "Curse you Kakashi and your hip attitude." Then he saw the genin. "Kakashi, your team is a lot more youthful than I would imagine." Sasuke appeared hurt. Sakura appeared unconcerned. However, Naruto awoke and summoned a shadow clone to approach him. He concluded by saying, "Hey, Guy. Sensei, come to fan your flames of youth?" "Oh, ho, Kakashi, you taught him of the flames of youth?" Kakashi gave Naruto a startled look. Naruto asked, Want to know a way to increase your youthful flames? Kakashi's eyes went wide with fear. You know how to? Guy appeared before him in an instant, his eyes dancing with flames. Of course. Naruto grinned to himself. Tell me, youthful Uzumaki, yelled Guy. Quiet your voice. Naruto answered. If you get too loud, your flames will diminish. They only increase through action, not words. When it comes to the flames of youth, the phrase actions speak louder than words is actually an understatement. Now Guy was intrigued. How so? I'll put it to you this way. Instead of showing your youthfulness through your loud voice and words, show it through your actions. You don't have to get so loud about it. Only act on the flames. They will burn brighter than ever before. Guy's head was bobbing around. I see. That does seem like a good plan for increasing my youthful flames. I do that all the time, and I took on an A-rank robe. Walked away without a scratch. Naruto said. There is no question that it works. The real question is, can you handle such bright flames? Without a doubt. Then let us see if the brighter flames will accept you. They will test you. They will push you to your mental limits. All the while, you must not break. You must not shout about them. You must learn to channel it through your actions. Only then will they reach the pinnacle of youth, said Naruto to him. I'll only ask one more time. Will you take the test of the youthful will? Youthful will. Yes, the youthful will. It's something that cannot be expressed through words, but summed up in only a few sentences. Naruto replied, by combining the power of youth with the will of fire, you gain the youthful will. It does not accept just anyone. In fact, I'm the first in probably 50 years to achieve it and be accepted by it. At this point, the only way for you to increase your flames is by adding in the will of fire. I thought I already had the will of fire. Can you undergo over 1,000 assassination attempts on your life as a kid, when you have no means to defend yourself, from your own home, and not fall victim to hatred, or revenge? Can you forgive them for their ignorance? Can you take it all in stride and still wear a smile on your face? Can you watch as one person goes through anyone and everyone just to get to you, kill off anyone that was ever precious to you, and, when you actually have the chance to, not kill him? It is through all of that, I persevered. That is how I achieved the youthful will. Can you bear all of that? After giving him a brief glance, Guy nodded. If I cannot, then let my flames of youth be extinguished permanently. Everyone gaped at Naruto, but he chose to ignore them. Then let us see if they accept you. Know that it isn't instantaneous. It will likely take years to achieve it, even with your level of youthfulness. Remember that. Guy gave a nod and left. The others gave Naruto the gaping fish expression as he turned to face them, and that's how you do that. Kakashi stared at Naruto in amazement. Anyone observing him would see that his jaw would have separated from his face if it weren't for his mask. Kurenai said, how could you do that in one conversation? People have been trying to get him to shut up about that for years. Her voice was shocked. It's only a matter of understanding the flames themselves. It's like they say. It takes one to know one. Naruto sighed. And I was actually being serious there. It is only after going through all of that, and choosing the right actions will he ever find it, much less have it accept him. If there's anyone else that can achieve the youthful will, it's not Guy, but his student. The one that seems to copy him, you know? Rock Lee. Thought Kakashi. Naruto gave a nod. He looked at the one in a tree, nodded, and said, yeah, him. I've already met another of his students. After all, he is Hinata's cousin. Training ground number 9. Guy approached his team, who appeared somewhat disoriented at the moment. Lee, Tenten, Neji, I have recently found out that someone has found a way to improve my flames of youth and done so already. His tone was raspy. The only person who seemed depressed about it was Lee. The other two were simultaneously terrified and perplexed. Guy. Sensei, what do you mean? Lee. The only way for me to achieve brighter flames is by adding a different flame to complement it. The one that appeared to be a mini. Guy asked, which one, Sensei? The will of fire. The will of fire cannot be expressed through words, but through action. Words do not make up the will of fire. To increase our flames, we must combine our youthful flames with the will of fire, and be accepted by the youthful will. When it comes to the will of fire, I am severely outmatched by one person. The fact that someone had managed to almost silence Guy regarding his flames of youth astounded Neji and Tenten. Who told you this? Ah. Young Uzumaki. Uzumaki. Not possible. How was he going to ignore this? Neji pondered. Tenten, however, had a different idea. Where can I locate him? Guy. Sensei. She began, and he turned to face her. And if he's taken, where, exactly, can I find him? He is currently in Training Ground 8. He is Kakashi's student, replied Guy. It is strange how one of Kakashi's students went through that much, and can still forgive those who cause him pain. The will of fire burns strongest in him. I have seen his strength of will. It cannot be moved by any deity. Maybe even fate. With a hint of disgust, Neji said, that quite the statement. He is the dead last of his class. He could never have that kind of will. You will have to see it for yourself to believe it, then, replied Guy. For not even I can describe it better than that, and that is, more likely than not, an understatement. Another person approached them. Ah, Haku, exclaimed Tenten. What's up? Nothing really. I was actually looking for Sasuke, and wound up here, Haku responded. Oh. Well, he's probably with his team in TG8. Oh, and if you see him, can you tell Naruto that I said thanks? For what? Just tell him who my sensei is. He'll understand. Haku grinned. Anyway, why don't you stick around for a while? Haku said, well, why not? Before creating an ice clone that fled in the direction of the next training ground, weapons battle. Tenten drew some kunai and said, as usual, Haku sketched some senbon. Ready. Begin, they yelled. Lee, Guy, and Neji were conveniently overlooked by shuriken, kunai, and senbon, who were flying everywhere. Until the very end, when Tenten avoided a few senbon that were thrown at Neji. They struck his knee, and he fell. Damn it, Tenten, they both exclaimed, paused, and turned to Neji. Tenten said, looks like that was your strike. Yes, it was. And you don't regret it? Haku acknowledged, his fate monologues are annoying. I also have his uncle's permission to do that if he goes into one. Good to know. Why would Sama give an outsider permission for that? Neji grumbled. Well, you'd have to ask Naruto. He's the reason I have the permission in the first place. He's also one of the reasons Hinata has you beat badly, Haku said with a grin. Shy and gentle Hinata. Haku said, she's not shy anymore. If anything, she could probably give her father a run for his money, especially if she goes all out. She cares for those close to her, and may hold back against them, but she will not hesitate to attack if they strike first. She will lose. Haku turned back to Tenten and said, I would think otherwise, as she has already taken out a few demons that insulted someone close to her. Shall we continue? Tenten threw another kunai and asked, why not? It was intercepted by a senbon. Senbon, shuriken, and kunai were flying everywhere. After that, Haku was able to make a few hand signs with one hand. Sensatsu Suisho. Before they charged at Tenten, a number of senbon materialized above her. Tenten had to block 2 of them but avoided the majority. A bad idea. They sliced through the kunai she was using to block them, and they both struck her shoulders as soon as she attempted to do so. What the? I forgot to tell you. Sensatsu Susho creates water senbon enhanced with wind chakra. In essence, it's similar to the Hyouten bloodline in water country, but does not require said bloodline. Just water and wind chakra. So, you were a kunoichi once? No, at best, I was a ronin. No affiliation. I was taught by a rogue, that has been granted a safe haven as the guardian of wave country. They gave him a home, and he protects them in return. I was never aligned with any village, and as such, have never had a true home. Tenten questioned, then why didn't you become a kunoichi? Guy acknowledged, I am wondering that as well. Lee and Neji remained quiet. Haku let out a sigh. I had no wish to become a ninja in the first place. I learned what I needed to survive. That's all I truly wanted. Now, I have someone to care for. Someone who cares for me as well. And I'm actually quite happy with where I'm at. Tenten gave a nod. She was approached by Sasuke and Haku's ice clone as they came into the clearing. What's up? I thought you should know that the Inuzuka clan head came looking for you. Said she wanted to talk about something with us both there. I'm not sure of the details, but she said that both of us were to be at a cave to the northwest. Said it should interest us. Sasuke noticed that she was suspicious when he looked at her. Anything else? Well, there's the Yamanaka, Akamichi, and Nara clans wanting to talk about some kind of clan alliance, but other than that, no, Haku said. Sasuke gave a nod. They also said they would meet you after the Inuzuka clan head. Then he saw Neji and said, all right then, my team is done with training. Hyuga. If there's one person I can respect, it's Naruto. He has the ability to do everything I can't. Anything that you say is impossible, is his life. His entire existence is a testament to the impossible. You insult him, you insult me. He is one of the select few to ever gain my respect. He turned with Hiku beside him. He left the training ground with a startled Genin team and their Junin sensei, saying, "And to gain Uchiha's respect, arrogant or not, it takes a lot more for someone who was an orphan from day one." But none was more enraged than Neji Hyuga. No deceased person should be able to do that. With Naruto in the Kitsune realm, Kiddo was facing Naruto and Hinata. "So, what's up? You never really come for a social call," Kiddo responded. "Well, I just wanted to get away from the village, so I told everyone else individual training for both of us under our second sensei, and they won't find him. Kakashi is already aware of you being my other sensei. He's only my sensei on paper. He knows it. I know it. The Hokage knows it. No one else does," Naruto said. "Thought I could come here to take a load off, you know? I also thought that I could hang out with the kits, or Naruto-kun," replied Hinata. Kiddo gave a nod. "I see. Well, the kits are currently in the clearing. If you want to play with them, be my guest. You really do need to take a load off, Naruto." "Yeah, I've been a little too stressed, and hot springs just don't do it for me," Naruto said. "The way I see it, it's better to be around people that actually care about my well-being than those that don't. I still think the majority of the village is stupid for thinking what they do. I just don't see why they would think you're a demon. You're a lot better than any of them, and would have killed them if you were, am I right?" replied Hinata. "True as that is, even demons have a sense of honor. I say it's the human mindset that was fucked up to think that all demons are evil, and all humans are good. That's a lie, and we've both seen that firsthand," Naruto responded. "Ain't that the truth? The only thing keeping me from raising the village myself is you. I still don't see why you want to protect them. You know I'm not normal, Kiddo. It takes an abnormal human, with a completely different mindset, to be able to befriend a Biju. What I want, is not to destroy them myself, but to prove their ideals wrong. I did it once before, and I can do it again. I keep forgetting that you're from the future. I don't think that will ever change. All in all, I'm me. Whether it's the future me, or the past me, it doesn't really matter. The way I see it, I'm still me. I can't help but notice you did change a lot. I'm not the reckless idiot I was last time I graduated? Well, that. But also that you're a lot more mature than you really should be," Naruto said. "Honestly, I blame my childhood. It forced me to grow up mentally." "Oh. Hinata, Rigaldo came in a few days ago, said he wanted to talk, as did Kamikolo." "Good to know. I'll head to them after a while." "Well, Rigaldo did say it was a level 2. Hinata questioned, "Level 2? Before observing Naruto's eyes widen. "Did he finish that project?" "He took 3 projects, and finished them all. He wanted to see what she thought of them. As to which 3, I don't know." Hinata grinned and nodded. "I'll probably check on Kamikolo first." Naruto then stood up and walked out of the room, pausing at the door before saying, "I'll head to the clearing. Hopefully the kits are there. If you want to join me, Hinata, feel free to do so. Oh, and Kiddo? I believe you should check on the snow foxes, and if there's a summoning contract, I know of someone that they may like. I'll let them know." Naruto hurried off, almost disappearing from Hinata's view. When did he learn to hide his presence completely? He didn't. He does so naturally, and it confuses me to no end. Before heading for the door, Hinata remarked, "You're not the only one." She glanced over her shoulder at him and said, "Oh right. Things are going a lot more smoothly than I thought. The only ones that truly remember anything about the invasion are those that came back, myself, and the Hokage. The Inuzuka clan remembers as they were told beforehand by the Wolf clan, but they know not to tell anyone." Good to know. The mountain range at the top of a mountain, Hinata was seated in the lotus position. Her words, "Kamikolo," paused. She opened her eyes and turned to face the angel, asking, "You wanted to see me? Glad to see you made it. My father said he has watched you during your life. He is surprised at the way you progressed in your life. You think on your own, and don't allow others to influence your decisions. He has decided to give you a gift, should you accept it. If it will take me away from Naruto-kun, then I'm sorry, I won't take it. I'm not going to let him go. Not if it means to get higher. I'm not that kind of person. He is aware that you wouldn't have accepted something like immortality, not unless he has granted it as well." She replied with a nod. "As such, the gift is an upgrade to your Byakugan. And a pair of wings. Why give me this? I don't see why you go for it. It's the last point that gets me. She wants you to lead the Seraph clan in case we need to head to battle. Even after death, you will have that luxury." Hinata considered it. "I think I'd take the first 2 now, and wait for the invasion to start for the third one to kick in. Is that acceptable?" Kamikolo. Father, did you catch her response? The glow appeared to be turning in Hinata's direction. That I did. Hinata Hyuga. Those terms are acceptable. I will let them know of your decision, though I am a little confused as to why you will only take 2 of the 3 now. It's because I'd have to get used to them. I have maybe 2 weeks to get used to them before the exams begin, and from there, I have a month before the finals, where the invasion happens. That's if everything goes according to Naruto Kun's plan, she explained to them. I see. You wish to be able to control your gifts before then, and they wouldn't trust you if you couldn't, correct? That would be about right. Ihashi was right, she is smarter than she let on. Remind me not to ignore her opinion when it comes to those she watches over. Noted. Hinata said, thank you, Kami, Sama, Kamikolo. The glow grew closer to her and extended to her forehead, warning, be aware that this will hurt a bit. She closed her eyes and let out a painful scream as it struck. After the glow subsided, the pain persisted for roughly a minute. After whimpering for a while, she stopped. When she opened her eyes, nothing had changed. It's done. With a nod, Hinata said, yes, it is. Activate your Byakugan, which about twice as much chakra as usual. She had a bright green 7 leaf clover in the middle of each eye instead of a pupilless white eye, but the veins were still visible. The angel's version of the Byakugan. As long as you remain pure of heart, you will be on great terms with our clan. Do not change for anyone. In response, Hinata said, yes, Kami. Sama. Is that all you wanted to see me for? Unfortunately, I have a few other things to take care of, and then I was planning on spending time with Naruto-kun. Yes. You may go if you wish. Then Hinata vanished into the wind, saying, thank you, Kami, Sama. Makai Market Hinata entered the forge owned by Rigaldo. Hello, Rigaldo. He led her to a stand with several swords on it and said, ah. Hinata. Perfect timing. I wanted to get your opinion on a few things. Some of them she recognized. What do you think? She examined one of them after removing it from the rack. She removed one after a while and placed it on the rack. He wasn't joking when he claimed to be a great smith. She removed another and examined it, saying, those 2 alone are far beyond what I thought possible for any smith. I don't believe it. I'm not sure I follow. She returned it to the rack. Rigaldo. This sword right here. Do you think you can make enough for the Seraph clan to use in approximately 6 weeks in the elemental nations? She looked at him. Something happening. Yes, unfortunately. I was chosen as a general for the Seraph clan, should they have to go into battle. Unfortunately, that means 6 weeks. That would mean I'd need to get 166 of them, right? That would be about right. He gestured to the sword she was holding and said, okay, I'll make 170 of them. This one was actually the easiest to make out of all of them. I'll have them delivered. Since you actually came up with the idea behind them, I'll let them go for 20% of the full price. Thank you. As he produced a scroll, he said, no worries. Oh right. Pass that on to Naruto. The code for that one is the fan that catches pockets. At least. That's what he said it was for, he never elaborated. Her eyes widened as she thought, fan that catches pockets, it was not possible for. He and I are going to have a talk soon. It probably is. There is another one in there. 2 more, actually. One of them is the tree that shines like gum, and the other is for the angel that glows with lavender. I don't get his codes. Hinata stopped. He made me, Sakura, and Sasuke one. Too spoiled? I'll make sure he gets them. Farewell, Hinata.san. As she emerged from the forge, she was taken aback by Ibiki Morino's appearance. Ibiki.san? He said, Hinata Hyuga. At the same time, they questioned, what are you doing here? According to her, you go first. He gave a nod. I mainly came to talk with a few old friends. Now, about you? I've got to pick up a few things. Naruto.kun is actually highly popular here. Ibiki gave a nod. I take it you picked up an order from Rigaldo? Yeah. I also checked up on some of the ideas I left him. She acknowledged. I'm actually impressed he got them to that level of detail. No offense, but that doesn't really instill much confidence. Considering that Naruto.kun openly stated those ideas dwarf the majority of his pranks, I am surprised. Suddenly, Ibiki became intrigued. She gave him an explanation, asking, how much and on what basis? I really need to check this out. I've really got to get going though, see you. Wait. If you're going to be in the Chunin exams, be careful of your decisions. She grinned as she leapt off and swiftly vanished, saying, sure thing. As he stepped inside, he glanced at the forge. 1 week later. On a bridge, Team 7 was gathering. Kakashi arrived just 30 minutes late. Sensei, unless your tardiness has anything to do with the Chunin exams, I don't want to hear it, Sakura replied. Kakashi took out 3 application papers and said, well then, you're in luck. Here's your applications. Room 301 in 1 week. No missions until then. Each of them gave a nod. Kakashi departed in a cloud of smoke, saying, well, I'll see you then. Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke signed them right away. Sakura gave Naruto a look. Did you figure out anything along the lines of espionage? I remember you're gonna need it. Naruto deadpanned, you didn't think I would, did you? Yeah, I did. Kiddo is the reason for that. One of the reasons, anyway. Arrow. Sennin is the other one, but he didn't teach me much. I'm a frontline fighter, after all. At that, they both nodded. Sakura cracked her knuckles and said, but if Ino gets too close to Sasuke, I'm gonna send her flying. They both turned to Naruto and said, no, Hinata and I have been coming up with ideas to get Orochimaru to come after us, so we can kick his ass. Sakura, somewhat taken aback, inquired, why do you want to go after him? You thought I didn't find a few purification jutsu among the void element, didn't you? Replied Naruto. They were taken aback. Believe me, if he gets you with it, it'll be gone before you even realize it. How do you know it will work? One Anko Midarashi can attest to it. I've already gotten rid of hers. Man, am I glad I can sniff out chakra like Kiba does sense. I caught the snake. Like chakra, isolated it, and purged it. Doing so got rid of the curse. Sasuke emphasized, remember, that was a prototype. Naruto retorted, and it has been years since the application. Sakura's and Sasuke's eyes widened as they realized his point. If applied on the spot, what do you think will happen? I rest my case. After giving each other a nod, they walked around the village. With Naruto after meeting Hinata, Naruto strolled around the village for a while before he stopped and let out a sigh. How many times do I have to tell you, rocks aren't square, Konohamaru? You got it, boss. 3 coughing children at Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udona were revealed as an explosion sounded. Udon proposed, I think we used too much gunpowder, guys. No kidding. Said Hinata. He held up his pinky and said, hey boss, is she your? His response was, I wish it were further, but for now, yeah. After examining her, Konohamaru said, she doesn't look like much, if you ask me. He then stopped at the key that Naruto released. Knowing that he was either angry or about to be, the 3 children turned to face him. Come again? He asked in a level but irate tone. Konohamaru said, nothing, a little too hastily, but it worked. Naruto grinned back. Good. The children had a single idea. What caused boss to become bipolar? Then Hinata deadpanned, Naruto.kun. He informed her, you know why that happened. Before turning around, she paused and said, I know, I just. Knowing how she felt, Naruto followed suit, you feel it too. Couldn't call myself his friend if I didn't, he responded. You mean that he's, yeah, does that mean? Not likely. And you said that he, not sure if he is right now. Do you think he, if pushed, I'd say yes. You think he'll actually go that far? Naruto gave a shrug. You really don't know him that well, do you? Naruto glanced at the core of Konohamaru. You guys should head home. I can't risk your lives right now. Konohamaru, Gigi would never forgive me if I let you get in harm's way. With a nod, Konohamaru walked away, followed by Moegi and Udon. Naruto and Hinata heard a grunt shortly after he turned a corner. When they arrived at the source, they discovered a sandy blonde woman with a fan on her back and a man dressed in a black catsuit. Naruto recognized them right away. Hinata? Not at all. Konohamaru was in the grasp of the man in the black suit. Why does this feel so familiar to me? Hey, you might want to put him down. The man questioned, and why should I? Naruto noted, for one, that's the Hokage's grandson. Yeah right. Naruto informed them, the other you can find out if you see my eyes. The girl saw the red eyes with black slits as soon as she looked. Unconsciously, she took a step back. You piss me off, you get all 9. Comprende? She hit Kankuro in the head right away. Kankuro, you idiot. He dropped him right away and painfully grabbed his head. What? Why am I an idiot? He's like him, exclaimed the girl. Kankuro went pale at once. Apologize to him at once, and I can forget this ever happened, Naruto said calmly. Stop it, said a grim voice. A smirk appeared on Naruto's face at once. I was wondering when you'd speak up, Tanuki. Naruto was facing a whirlpool of sand. Must you embarrass them to that point? You should be lucky that I don't kill them yet. You know I could, replied Naruto. The redhead said, this is true. Kankuro, Tamari. Head to Baki. I've got business with this one. Both of them took a step back and fled. Naruto said, okay, before we go any further, a few questions. Act is still up, but I remember everything. Ichibi? Safe. Monk is dead. I still can't sleep much. Not yet, anyway. He still plays my mother at this point, and I call him such, if only to add to the image. Gaara then spotted Hinata. She in the loop? Naruto gave a nod. Much more so than the Hokage. Gaara said, no one on my end knows. And then produced a scroll. These are the details of what I remember our mission being. Anything change on your end? Iwa is in on it this time. Last time, they weren't. Naruto turned to Konohamaru and said, this just got more complicated. Tell Gigi that I'm calling code Yellow 92 as you head over there. What is meant by that? He'll be aware. Stating, the Flash will if he doesn't. It would appear as thought we've slightly underestimated the snake, Gaara said. After Konohamaru and his companions fled, Naruto said, not quite. Sasuke and Sakura landed beside Naruto. Sakura said, Gaara. Gaara. Sasuke said, Sharingan blazing, Shukaku. You. Sasuke said, calm down, I won't kill you unless you give me a good reason to. Besides, I already got my retribution, and Itachi is still alive. Orochimaru doesn't know this. The only ones that are aware of this happens to be present, minus the Hokage. You're going to need some kind of backup, to which Naruto answered, taken care of. Already. I anticipated a shift in the schedule. Although it's not really my style, I assumed we would require additional personnel. Or, perhaps I should say, supernatural strength. Demons. Only 2 of them belong to the demon clan, Kitsune and Wolf. Are there any others? Death Angel, Seraph, and Dragon. Do you think that's sufficient? Naruto nodded as he asked. I also have some positive news to share. The Tanuki clan has given me a summoning contract now that Shukaku is much more sane. But nobody else is aware of it. That's good to know. Are there any other significant changes? Nothing right now. Kumo could be useful. Kiri. They might as well. Avoid killing them at all costs if you see them. Mei would be incensed. I believe both of us would know not to piss her off. I'm not joking. Naruto said, shuddering at the sight, I'd rather be hit by Heishi with a juken to the balls than shit her off. I'd imagine. Replied Gaara. I'm pretty sure a death from my sand is a mercy compared to her punishments. Are those penalties truly what you're calling? That guy's balls were melted off by her, Naruto almost yelled. When did this occur? Who is this Mei? Sakura inquired, and Hinata merely listened. Naruto blinked before observing Hinata's perplexed expression and saying, I don't think she is aware of what we're talking about. I apologize. Do you recall that I mentioned the Godem Mizukage in her Yoden? Well, I had the, she said, nodding. Annoyance at witnessing her apply it to the balls of another man. If she's angry with me. Hinata then nodded in comprehension, saying, Hiraishin wouldn't get me away fast enough. Good. Not a girlfriend, she thought. You didn't anticipate that I would go and be unfaithful to you? She blushed and shook her head. You lie. No. That didn't occur to me. I had another thought that, if true, would have infuriated me. Gaara said, still have some insecurities, I see. Much better than she was the last time. At least she isn't passing out whenever I approach. Years passed before she was able to accomplish this. Gaara said calmly, really, Pain is an epic bastard. I'm not joking. At least he ended well. Gaara remarked, you told me that right after the summit. Naruto gave a nod. Well, Uchiha. Don't waste your time. Nobody really knows what's happening. In addition, he said, glancing off into the distance, I won't do anything to reach them if sound follows me. The snake will regret picking on me if he discovers us. Far away. A sound genin who resembled a mother said, something's wrong here. I can't hear what they're saying, she said. Every sound wave is being stopped. I can tell they're talking even though it seems like they're just standing there. How are you unable to? A woman beside him inquired. I don't know. Back with Naruto. Those sound genin believe they're all that, Naruto said with a laugh. They appear to be unaware that my sound barrier will prevent them from catching anything. Compared to the Hokage's privacy seals, it is more secure. Sakura arched an eyebrow and asked, when did you think of that? My all. Purpose barrier includes it. I can use the whole thing or just parts of it. Naruto sighed and said, believe me, it comes in handy. Sasuke, Sakura, and Hinata nodded, but Gaara raised an eyebrow. A shadow clone used it and got a sneak attack on Madara once. That's damn, said Gaara, obviously at a loss for words. Anyway, we've been redeveloping our skills and learning new ones, Naruto said. Only my team, Haku, and Hinata are aware of my progress with the Sharingan. Only the people I've told are aware of the Eternal Mangekyo because I haven't needed to use it. With a raised eyebrow, Gaara said, you saved him? Her, actually. Naruto shot back, I don't know, but it might be a time warp issue. Although she claimed to be male, she is actually female. As you are aware, I have already gotten in touch with Anne May. May was nearby when I landed, and with a little assistance from Sakura Express, I used Zabuza as airmail. Both of them have been pardoned and are still alive. That's good to know. You have no communication with Iwa. Naruto shook his head in response to Gaara's question, your father. Got it, a nod. The only people who have not yet received a warning are Yanbi and Gobi. But you can understand why they're from Iwa, Sasuke said. They all nodded when Gaara said, I'll be sending updates through the Tanuki clan. Naruto then turned to face the Sound Ninja and gave them the finger. Alongside the Sound Ninja, the Mummy Genin pondered, that blonde brat is gonna get himself killed. Why do you want to kill anyone who irritates you, Dosu? The woman sighed. Because it's fun, and they're annoying, kin. But still, I'm not fond of that blonde. I have a feeling that there's much more to him than. In actuality, he is the group's most powerful member. The other man said, that can't be right. Among them all, the Hyuga is the one we should be least concerned about, in my opinion, Kin acknowledged. That can't be right. Uchiha, Hyuga, the blonde brat, Pinky, and that idiot from Suna, said the third male, narrowing his eyes. Suna is the most dangerous, in my opinion. No Blondie, Suna, Uchiha, Pinky, and Hyuga are in order. First, the biggest threat, Kin said. They assumed a battle stance as a male said, you know she's right. Naruto was standing there, and he said, she's got the threat levels correct among us. Oh, I see. Eat the... Naruto appeared behind him, his arms raised to his face. Do you want to avoid blowing off your own head? Did he ask? Dosu commanded, Zaku, stop. How did you move without a sound? As an academy student, you attempt to outrun Anbu in the middle of the day while wearing a bright orange jumpsuit. Then pose that query to me, Naruto shot back. Naruto went poof, revealing he was a shadow clone. The three Sound Genin looked shocked, thinking, this guy is dangerous. See you in the exams. The Sound Genin turned back to where the others were and saw they had long since vanished. The day of the initial examination, when Team 7 and Team 8 passed the first room with the number 301, they saw the Genjutsu, but Sasuke remained silent. Team Guy also saw it, but they quietly retreated. A boy wearing green spandex said, Naruto.kun. Lee, you want to get into a fight with one of us? Yes. Lee said, I want to show you how my flames of youth have improved. Avoid worrying excessively. You can demonstrate them in the exams, Naruto said, adding that if you were to face me right now, you would have to use prohibited techniques, which Guy Sensei would instantly put an end to. That's not what we want, is it? No, we do not. Lee answered. Let's move on to the exams. I hope the top Genin wins. They shook hands, and Naruto said, don't get knocked out too soon. Naruto then released his grip and hurried to the door, followed shortly after by Sasuke and Sakura. Hinata sighed, and Teams 8 and 9 ran to the room, only to discover Team 7 entering with Guy and Kurenai in front of them. When Team 10 entered the room, Team 7, 8, and 9 were already there. Naruto. Are you also present? A slack voice said. Kun Sasuke. Ino shouted. Naruto had her by the ponytail, and kept her out of reach of Sasuke. Let me go, Naruto. Until you discover that he's already taken, that is. After all, the rumors have been going around. I'm certain you've heard about them. They are not believed by anyone. Why would I care about untrue rumors? With a sigh, Naruto spun her around and said, because. They all turned to face Sasuke as he said, wait, where did that rumor originate? One of your fan club's girls. She is among the larger ones. You were making out with someone, she said. Nobody would accept that. Not even my dad. Everyone except Hinata and Team 7 were taken aback when Sasuke laughed. Well, then, in 2 weeks precisely, I'd suggest you make sure that sound barriers are around your rooms, Naruto, he said. Sakura, Hinata. Naruto's eyes expanded as he said, "You mean?" Sasuke nodded with a cunning grin on his face, and Naruto returned to his old pranking grin. "That's when it'll happen. I'll make sure it's ready, and record it myself." Noted. "Hold on," Sakura said, "I have a better idea." "Will you two continue to talk so loudly?" A man approached them, wearing glasses and sporting silver hair. One idea was shared by Team 7, Kabuto Yakushi. "You must be the newcomers because you enter here as though you are an expert. I promise you don't." "What do you know, too?" Naruto asked, irritated, and turned to face Sakura and Sasuke, who both nodded slightly and said, "Don't let on that you know what he truly is." "Oh, I apologize. You can call me Kabuto Yakushi. I've been here before, so you know." "Oh, what is the number of times you have taken the exam?" Shikamaru inquired. "It belongs to me. The 7th. However, I was able to learn a lot about them. With these, I can show you what I've gathered," he said, removing a deck of cards. Looking out at the crowd, Naruto saw one team in particular, a Kumogakure team and a Kirigakure team next to them. What the hell? He thought, Kiri and Kumo next to each other. Then he saw one of the Kiri ninja. Wait, could that be? "Kabuto, do you have individual profiles?" Kabuto acknowledged, "Of course I do, though some are not really accurate. Hei's Kanami. His hometown is Kirigakure. Are you familiar with his name? You ruined the fun." Kabuto smiled and removed a card, saying, "Hei's Kanami. He appears to be more focused on Kenjutsu and Ninjutsu. His group, to be honest, they look like weirdos. But those are the individuals you need to be on the lookout for. The problem is, this one has adopted an A rank and managed to get away with it. It's remarkable for a genin. His taijutsu and genjutsu are unknown, but his kenjutsu is far above junin level and his ninjutsu is roughly chunin level. That's all I have." According to Shikamaru, Naruto Uzumaki, "What makes you curious about me?" Shikamaru gave him a somewhat suspicious glance and said, "Call it curiosity." "All right, Naruto Uzumaki," Kabuto said. "Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno were teammates. 1B rank, 3C ranks, 30.2D ranks, and 4A ranks. Nice record," he said, glancing at Naruto. "What information about the A ranks do you have?" did Ino ask. "Not much, I'm afraid," Kabuto said. "I only have 3 of those A ranks that were originally C ranks and were upgraded. The final one. I'm not wearing anything. It was a solitary mission, and I have no idea why. All I know is that." "That is the 4th one," Naruto thought, "Mizuki. In fact, that's how I received my degree. Hey, I boasted that after taking a sealed scroll, I could avoid Anbu for the whole night. Very few people can match me in terms of stealth." "That's correct. Anbu are the best in the village," Kiba yelled. "Adobe like you couldn't possibly do that. Let's see you try painting the entire Hokage monument in a bright orange jumpsuit and not being spotted until after I was leaving the area, laughing somewhat like a maniac, and then getting away from all of your pursuers without any clan training." Kabuto said, "He's right. That was his final prank at the academy. A pretty good one, I must say. It's difficult. Following him were 5 Anbu, 10 Junin, and 1 Chunin. What baffles me is that the Junin and Anbu were unable to catch you, but the Chunin did. He has some sort of tracker on me, in my opinion, even though I was never able to locate it. He might have been able to follow my chakra even when I was hiding the majority of it. The only person who has ever caught me pulling one of my pranks is him." "I'm still confused," Kabuto replied. "Then again, they're only ranks, not their actual skill level. Can there really be such surprise given that he left Anbu to teach the academy of his own choice?" shrugged Naruto. While everyone else, including Sakura and Sasuke, was perplexed, Kabuto shook his head. "What do you mean by that, Naruto? Wasn't Iruka Sensei actually in Anbu?" "Iruka Sensei and I are like brothers," Naruto sighed. "He admitted to me that he doesn't regret saying a few things that he probably shouldn't have. You would know that he has no specialization, just like me, if you were close enough to him. He is a ninja generalist. He consequently quit the Anbu and began teaching. He claimed to have started teaching for that reason, at least. I don't have any grounds to question him." The rookie genin, who were aware of Naruto's relationship with Iruka, nodded in agreement. On the opposite side of the room, there was an explosion. I won't even discuss the first exam. Even when Naruto doesn't respond to any questions, things proceed exactly as they do in canon, and Hinata questions it in her mind, but she knows he has a reason. At the 45-minute mark, Ibiki called and gave the rules. "Who wants to leave now?" People were quitting left and right. Naruto then noticed a Kumo ninja, one of the only teams there, was about to forfeit. He raised his hand into the air, shook it a bit, and then slammed it down on the desk in front of him. Never underestimate me. I refuse to give up and run. I will still become Hokage someday, even if all of you other idiots stop me from becoming Chunin. Ibiki turned to face him. Are you certain? Keep in mind that you cannot change your decision once you have made it. All right. Because I always keep my word. My nindo is that. Therefore, you can shove your threats and killing intent up your ass, he yelled, which immediately allayed any fear in the space. I can't say I'm not surprised, but Anko will be pissed. Ibiki glanced around the room and said, that kid is too courageous. Then again, I'm talking about a kid that would rather hang out with true demons than his own kind. He was about to say something when something came through the window. Anko was in front of a banner that materialized. Ibiki said, Anko, earlier than usual. What the devil, 28 teams? Anko yelled. Anko was shocked to learn, I hadn't even told them they passed yet. Gosh, I am truly early. I might assume the next portion is at TG44. Naruto asked, grabbing their attention with a laugh. Anko gave him a look and said, Gaki, how did you know? Naruto noted, your presence for one. The banner is the next clue. The second proctor is you. That's your home away from home. Is the last piece, and its moniker makes anyone who doesn't need to be there immediately leave. Well, Gaki, Anko said, glancing at him. How were you aware that you had already passed? Try talking to someone. Particularly at this distance, no one else could have heard it. Yes, I did. It is evident to me that the purpose of the first 9 questions was information gathering. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at espionage when it doesn't involve speaking or listening. With the 10th question, I decided to take a chance. We pass as long as we have 1 point. This raises another issue. To pass, you really only need to provide the right answer to 1 question. It dawned on me then. The 10th question is more important than the others. What are you aware of? An Aim Nin exclaimed. More than you, apparently. Ibiki replied. He is right on all points, but he is missing a few. Like how the rules for the first 9 would have incentivized cheating. The espionage skills were that. Contrary to popular belief, they are not worthless. That is the distinction between a genuine shinobi and a civilian or fake shinobi. When a shinobi sees something, they can tell everyone about it. I waited because I had this all worked out in the first 5 minutes. However, well done on the 10th question. Anyone here who hadn't experienced worse was being terrified by you. For instance, that Suna team. Naruto gestured to Gaara. There, I recently learned of an unstable Jinchuriki. Because they could be killed by a single man, Sunanin are all afraid for their lives. I may not be able to identify them, but I am certain of one thing. They will undoubtedly be an insane murderer. You can resist your killing intent if you can resist that. Those of you glaring should know that I've felt worse, I've been hit with worse, and I've dished out even worse than that. He said, getting up, as all of Sunanin glared at him, but he shrugged it off. Mitarashi.san, I will be seeing you on the south side. Sakura and Sasuke exchanged glances before departing. All right. 1 hour. Ground 44 for training. Come with me. Through the window, she leapt out. Are all Konohajunin this crazy? Contemplated the other genin in the room.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.